Last year in the first ever Little 250 presented by Gainbridge, we had one of the best events I've ever ran on NR, and it was a classic feature finish with Stuart Grant, Kasumi Takashi, and Travis Crampton battling it at the end, and it was Crampton that didn't have to do a single thing that stole the race win. Here tonight, we have 50 drivers going after 22 spots. We have more races and more co-commentators as well all throughout the night. And it is time for the second annual Little 250 presented by Gainbridge, part of Indy 250 Week on AG the channel. Hello everyone, it is Nathan here and welcome back for the second year in a row to Anderson Speedway in Anderson, Indiana, part of Indy 250 Week. And this was a fantastic event last year. A lot of you guys really liked the idea of this, and it is back once again with 50 drivers this time, and only 22 will be in the feature. We will have a lot of races here tonight, a lot of different commentators throughout the booth as well, and this is a jam-packed quarter mile here tonight at the Anderson Speedway, and it is going to be a lot of fun. Like I mentioned, we got a whole cast of commentators throughout the night, and starting off here tonight, we have Caleb Rose, who joined me all night last year, and we have Brian Wilmington up here in the booth as well. And I welcome you two for the 2026 edition of the Little 250.
Definitely really excited to see how this year's edition of this race will play out. Last year's race was so much fun, and such a fun race to start what a new tradition here in the Little 250. Definitely have to give you props for starting this tradition. Last year was absolutely awesome, and cannot wait to see how this year will play out. Like you say, got 50 drivers here fighting for 22 spots, and even just the lead up to the race is always quite exciting. So it's going to be interesting to see how all these pre-amenities will go before we do get to the feature race. But should definitely be quite the fun night here from the Anderson Speedway, that is for certain. And it's going to be interesting to see who we do see in the feature event and who will unfortunately have to watch from the sidelines.
Yeah, absolutely. Last year's event was an instant classic, and I'm sure this year is going to provide more of the same. This is definitely a great racetrack, and we've got a lot of great drivers here today as well. Less than half of them gonna make the main, so you've got to be pretty good among the already pretty solid drivers in order to get yourself into the main. These heats are going to be very high stakes and very entertaining to watch, I'm sure.
Absolutely, and we talked about the heats. They were already high stakes last year, with only only 5 made it, then we have 4 heats. Now, only 3 make it with 5 heats this year, and here is the format that we will go through all night long here tonight. First off, with the races themselves, we will have 5 heats, 25 laps each, 10 cars per heat, and the top 3 will advance from each heat. And then we have the D main, that will be 50 laps, and then the C main, that will be 50 laps, the B main, that will be 75, and of course the Little 250 feature will be 250. And we will talk about the other races later on, but here are the main format here tonight. We will have 10 drivers in each heat, and the top 3 will advance on into the feature the easy way. If you finish 4th or 5th, you will go to the B main. If you finish 6th or 7th, you will go to the C main. And then if you finish 8th, 9th, or 10th, you will go to the D main, and you have to do what I and some dirt people like to call the alphabet soup and go from the D to the C to the B to the A. But regardless of the fact we have so many strong drivers here this year, and only a select few will make it. And oh yeah, the fastest heat, the fastest mile per hour will be on pole for the feature as well. So that's another interesting thing. You want to have a clean heat here tonight. We will introduce these drivers one by one all night long. 4 of these heat races starting off, and we have Keegan Thompson on the pole with the bingo shuffle that you saw yesterday that Alex put up here on AG the channel. And alongside Keegan, it will be Henry J. Brown, the number 72 of Charles Bowen, and the number 13 of Hal Anderson Jr. Kobe Light in the 73, and Avery Alford in the number 65, the number 86 of Ryan Durrani, and the number 11 of Marcus de Jesus. And then one up in last year's event after the chaotic finish, David Dixon in the number 45, and Alessa Selspin in the number 19. Alright, we'll see how this one goes this year. Caleb and then Brennan, who are lower pits for heat race number 1.
I definitely think track position is going to play an advantage of these guys with it being such a short race. However, we can see guys go from back to front, and one guy on mine is definitely that 86 of Ryan Durrani. He's been absolutely on fire so far in the Wawa National Series so far this year. I definitely watch out for that 86 to maybe make some noise there. Starting towards the back, but on that inside lane, so we'll have to see what he could do.
I like the way you're thinking, Caleb. I especially like the thought of someone at the front, especially in such a short race with the track position. I like the inside lane. I'm going to pick Charles Bowen starting in 3rd place. He's already got the pretty good track position. I like being on the inside on the start, especially once again with this race being so short. I'm looking at that 72 car making a run at the lead.
I like that pick, and I'm going to be honest, I like this paint scheme. Might be one of my favorites here. It's kind of a throwback paint scheme that Charles Bowen did. I really like it, and there's some details on it that are very cool. Here we go. Only the top three will move on into the future. The easy way, everyone else will have to go through the hard way. It is the 2026 0250, and heat race number 1 is underway. Great jump from the inside lane. That's exactly where you want to be at Anderson Speedway. You can move around a little bit, but you don't really want to make too many mistakes. And how about this puppy like to make a dive bomb attempt on Charles Bowen for the 2nd place spot. He knows that he's not safe in that 3rd place spot because Dwayne's all the way on the move, and Kobe Light is going to jump up to the 2nd place position. And then already you got Dwayne from in the 7th position up to the 4th position, and all over the back bumper for the last transfer spot in heat race number 1.
Definitely seeing it early on here. The inside lane is where you want to be, but you definitely got to be careful here through these corners. Of course, with it being such a short racetrack, it's really easy to kind of overdrive these corners, shoot the car out wide. There's absolutely no grip up there like we are seeing. All the cars kind of started there on the outside lane are already kind of pummeling towards the back of the field. So, like I said, the inside is just absolutely where you want to be. So you got to be careful not to overdrive these corners too much, as easy as it is. But already got some shuffling going on here in the early stages of this event. Has got a couple instances of side-by-side as Anderson Jr. looking to try and make another instance of side-by-side here with the 45 of David Dixon. I'd like to get close together there off the exit of turn number 4. But Ryan Durrani in the 86. We were taking a look back there. He's made his way up into 3rd, and now we're going to try and hound that 73 of Kobe Light for 2nd. Juiced up the racetrack just a little bit. Keegan Thompson really went wide there off of turn number 2. You got to be careful. Can't hit that outside wall. Could really cost you some valuable momentum at a track like this.
Yeah, absolutely. You're seeing it right here. The number 86 of Ryan Durrani, a hard charger in this race, holding that final transfer spot. Now trying to get past the number 73 car of Kobe Light for the 2nd position. And Durrani's going to make that pass. He's up 5 spots from where he started. And if these two continue to fight each other for 2nd, that could be good news for the 72 of Charles Bowen to try and catch back up. As the 73 gets back underneath, Light back to 2nd. Back and forth swapping for position here as we're past halfway in heat number 1. That's exactly what the 46 of Keegan Thompson wants to see, as they're too preoccupied with each other. Durrani's going to lose some track position here. and the 72 of Bowen trying to close back into that 86, and not too far behind the 72 is the 13 car of Hallie Anderson Jr., trying to take advantage of those two get into it.
And these two could be in a fierce battle for this third and final transfer spot. Only 10 laps to go this time by. These heat races will fly on by. Keegan Thompson doing a great job out front. Looks like Kobe Light is trying to close in to that top spot. And we really gotta watch out for third on bat with Ryan Dewani, Charles Bones, the 13th Hallie Anderson Jr., and then you got these two of David Dixon and Alexis Selzman almost getting into each other. Unfortunate break for the 34, 11, and 65 not having a good heat right now. And Dewani just doing a good job protecting the inside lane. Knows that all he has to do now, as much as he doesn't want to, is to finish in third, and he will move on to the feature. Of course, it's not guaranteed if he will start 5th, 10th, or wherever, because of the whole thing of the fastest heat will start first. So that's gonna be an interesting thing. Dewani's gonna make a mistake though. Sideways off turn number 2. Has to be careful with only 5 laps left.
He had that thing yawned out there after turn number 2. Almost got in the wall, but keeps it straight. He tries to close into the 73 of Kobe Light, who's still trying to give chase to the 46 of Keegan Thompson, who has driven a really good heat here so far. Gonna try and close this one out. Durrani goes a bit wide through 1 and 2. Bowen probably not out of this just yet. Durrani keeps slipping up the racetrack. That's going to give that 72 a chance. And like you were talking about, these two get together. Hallie Anderson Jr. could potentially be in the catbird seat as well. He is still far from over, although we're coming to 2 laps to go this time by. But Bowen goes really wide there in the 72 and goes wide again through 1 and 2. Might take quite a lot now for that 72 to catch back up to the 86 at this rate.
White flag for Keegan Thompson. Started on the pole with the bingo draw, and it's going to look out perfectly. He will win. He race number 1, Kobe Light in 2nd, and Ryan Dewani, Hard Charger, 7th to 3rd, and he will move on to the feature. Bowens and Hallie Anderson Jr. will be in the B main. And then last year's runner-up of David Dixon and Alexis Selzman in the C main. And then Henry J. Brown, Marcus De Jesus, and Avery Alford will be in the D main. And that's how quickly things end up here at the Anderson Speedway, just like that. That is it for heat race number 1, and what a fun one it was right there. And Keegan Thompson, who kind of quietly got his way up inside the top 5, top 10 last year in the feature. He's kind of another shot at it here in this one. And what's the final thoughts of heat race number 1?
Definitely a fun.
Yeah, that was an interesting. I'm sorry, you go first.
Sorry, but definitely a really fun heat race, all things considered, and definitely a bit of an interesting start here to tonight's festivities. We got to give huge props there to Keegan Thompson. Like I said, drove a really clean and consistent race here in heat number 1, but it was a bit clean. We'll have to see if maybe the tensions pick up a little bit as this night does go along, but we'll just have to wait and see how it all plays out. But a really fun start to the night so far here from the Anderson Speedway. And we still got 4 more heats ahead of us.
Yeah, Keegan definitely drove a great race. Nobody was really able to touch him from the moment they said go. And it was a nice battle for the transfer there for a little bit, but Durrani seemed like he definitely had a very fast car, climbed up from 7th to 3rd, and that was just enough to get him in and not have to worry about any of the alphabet soup, as Nathan called it earlier. Tough break for Henry J. Brown, who started on the front row of this race, and he has to go all the way back to the D main, fell all the way to 8th. Just it's brutal up there on that outside lane, but even still, drivers like Hallie Anderson Jr. started up on that outside and were able to at least get a decent finish out of it. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if those drivers in the back can maybe make a run up to the main. But for 3 of them, they know that they won't have to deal with any of that. And pretty calm heat, but I expect we might get a couple more crazier ones as the night goes on.
I gotta agree, that was only the first one. Gotta get some up on the racetrack. And with Thompson, Light, and Dewani, they can chill until very late in the night. because they are in to the feature. Let's go ahead and go to heat race number 2 at Anderson Speedway. Alright, welcome back to Anderson Speedway, and it's time for heat race number 2 here tonight. And here are the drivers in the second heat here in the Little 250, presented by Gainbridge. On the pole, it will be Matt Davis in the number 28, and Javier Vasquez in the number 7. Andrew Williams in the 00, brand new Dodge. We had Dodge to the Little 250 this year, and there's a handful of them here tonight. Carlos Miller in the number 55, Nicky Martinez, new driver in this event in the number 9, the number 77 of Marcus Glitch, the number 0 of Matt Blatt, the number 80 of Bernardo D'Oliveira, and then you got the 54 of Michael Lewis, and then the number 89 of Nicholas Samudio, who wants to have a better feature this year compared to last year. Alright, Brenna and then Caleb this time, who are little pits to win heat race number 2.
Well, we saw the pole sitter run away with it last heat, so I'm going to go with Max Davis in that number 28. The Castrol Ford, I think, again, starting up front, especially in a 25-lap race such as this one, is going to be very important. We saw what Keegan Thompson was able to do last time, so I'm expecting Max Davis to do the same thing.
Definitely like that pick. Like you said, saw the pole sitter run away with it last time out. I think I'm going to go with a little bit of a different outcome, though. I'm going to go with the inside of the second row there, Andrew Williams. Had a lot of strong runs on the channel as of late, and I'd definitely look out for that Dodge as this night does go along, and I'd say he's looking to make some noise here in heat number 2.
We gotta see how these new Dodge late models end up looking out here tonight. We got quite a few of them, and we gotta see if Andrew Williams can move on here tonight. And we gotta see if Javier Vasquez, we saw this last year, where the outside poster was not really wanted to be on these heat races, and it was not for heat race number 1 and Henry J. Brown. But here we go, jumping straight into a heat race number 2. But what will we see this time? Matt Davis and Javier Vasquez, and they are green for heat number 2. Javier Vasquez has got to get to the bond as soon as possible, because that is not really want to be up top. How about Matt Davis, the poster, keeps on getting a great jump on these guys. Anderson's up in the second. Close call with Matt Black on Javier Vasquez there. And how about Nicky Martinez, one of the new drivers here in this event, going for the lead second as sideways went the 54 and the 0 there.
You're seeing the 7 car, Javier Vasquez, plummeting through the field, just like what happened with Henry J. Brown. Losing a spot here to the 54 car. Michael Lewis, who started in 9th, looks like he's going to settle back into 6th place, so he's still got a shot at trying to get an automatic bid, although if he's overshooting the corner like he just did there, chances aren't that high. And he just did it again. Almost got into the quarter panel with the car behind, and he's still struggling on the outside. That's the 80 of Bernardo de Oliveira. Almost contact off of turn number 2. A lot of action in the back, but pretty single file up front. Pretty pedestrian top 3 right now. And definitely shout out to Nicky Martinez in that number 9 car, holding that last transfer spot right now, but the 0 and 54 are bearing down on her.
Nicky holding strong here for right now, but Matt Black, Michael Lewis trying to close in and make this transfer battle pretty exciting here. Like we saw, though, once again, Max Davis shot out of a cannon there on the start. He still leads the way over the 00 of Andrew Williams, probably just trying to settle into a bit of a rhythm there in the second position. But like we were talking about, that 7 of Javier Vasquez definitely looking a bit ill-handling early on in this heat. He slid up the racetrack multiple times and unfortunately has lost quite a bit of ground as a result of that, as Michael Lewis gets the 0 of Matt Black
into the pit lane.
No caution, and that is the trouble spot that we saw all year last year, was turn 2 entering the pit lane, ironically, and from Matt Black, he all of a sudden, and and Michael Lewis all of a sudden went from a B position to a D position now. And that's how quickly things can change at Anderson Speedway. And now look at the gap that Nicky Martinez has over the number 80 of Bernardo de Oliveira. So this is looking very good for one of a handful of first timers to maybe get into the feature.
It's definitely looking good for Nicky Martinez there. The 0 and 54 were definitely her biggest competition, and they just took each other out. But this has opened up an opportunity for Bernardo de Oliveira if he can close that gap on the 9 car, as you see the 0 rejoining the racetrack and now entering back into the pits again. So definitely going to be a D main there for the 0. That's unfortunate for him. But if Oliveira can close in on that 9 car over the next few laps, he'll have a shot at it, which I think it would have been a little bit harder for him to do if that 0 and 54 were still there. He is closing in just a little bit on the 9. I'm not sure if there will be enough time for him to quite get there, though, but we'll see if he's got enough.
We'll see what he might have in the take there for the number 9 of Nicky Martinez, trying to do everything he can to close in. Does look like he is closing in a little bit, but like I said, starting to get towards the end of this race. Going to be 6 laps to go here this time by, so it's really going to have to lock in if he does want to have a shot at this. But like you were talking about, that's just how fast things can change at a track like this in just a blink of an eye. Matt Black, Michael Lewis both go from potentially fighting into the A main to straight towards the D main, and now Matt Black, I just called it a heat there, the 0, as he pulls it behind the wall, and 54 of Michael Lewis 7 laps down. So yeah, it's pretty much just going to be a one-way ticket to the D main for the both of them. So really unfortunate break there, but still got 4 laps to go here in this heat. Max Davis definitely looking good up front. Same for Andrew Williams there in second. And Nicky Martinez still doing everything right to try and hold on to third, but Oliveira's closing. Oliveira's closing in that number 80 machine. This might not be over.
Boy, Nicky Martinez might be a new driver in this Road 250, but has to stick it to the bottom. If, she slips up a little bit, the outside is not really want to be, and that could open up the door for the 80 machine. But outside and the bingo draw, it is very important to start first and third in these heat races, and it's going to prove it again. Matt Davis from the pole will win heat race number 1, and Williams in second. And first timer Nicky Martinez, along with Matt Davis, will go to the A main feature. The A and the 7 will go to the B main. The 55 and the 54 will go to the C main. And then, unfortunately, the 77, the 89, the 54 and the 0 will all go to the D main, and that was very chaotic, and that's how quickly things can change at the Anderson Speedway. And just like that, things have changed dramatically here at the Little 250. Michael Lewis, Matt Black, they were gonna be fine. Maybe just a B main, but now they have to go to the D main, and they would be joined by Nicholas Samdio, who had a terrible feature last year. But final thoughts after a moment, the first moment of the night in heat number 2.
Yeah, that was definitely more chaotic, if just for that one instant between Lewis and Black. They were fighting each other very hard for 4th and 5th, and I was a bit concerned that maybe if they'd pushed it too much, something like that would happen, and they ended up spinning into the pit lane, and even worse, they didn't even get a caution for it because the pit lane kind of swept up the mess for them. Not that it would have mattered for Matt Black, because it looked like he would have been out of the race anyway, but maybe Michael Lewis might have still had a chance to not end up at the bottom of the ladder, but just an unfortunate situation there from them pushing too much. De Oliveira had a chance to maybe catch up to Martinez there, couldn't quite do it, and but once again, we saw the pole sitter run away with it. We have not seen a pass for the lead yet in these heats, although I imagine this will not be a trend that we'll see throughout the entire night. I imagine at some point we will get a battle for the lead in these heats, and if not the heats, definitely much later in the night. But great drive by Max Davis and Andrew Williams, two experienced drivers. Expect to see them up at the front. And yeah, just a crazy, definitely a crazier heat than the last one, for sure, just from that one incident between the 0 and the 54.
I definitely finally had the first little pinch there of chaos, which is probably just going to keep building upon itself as this night does go along. It always seems like the tempers flare more and more here once we are under the lights, especially here at these shorter racetracks. But I have to see how the rest of the night ends up shaking out for all these guys. Really tough break there, like you mentioned, for Matt Black and Michael Lewis, like we were talking about earlier. Just a blink of an eye going to safe in the B main, potentially fighting for a spot in the A main, to 9th and 10th in this race, and both going to the D main. They're along with the 89 of Nicholas Samadeo. So, a really tough break there for all of those guys, but that's just sometimes the way the cards fall here at the Anderson Speedway. But huge credit to Max Davis, absolutely dominated heat number 2 here, and Andrew Williams, Nicky Martinez also ran great races as well. They're going to be in the feature event, and it's going to be really, really exciting to see how they do.
Absolutely, and all the way 2 heats in, and we have heat number 3 coming up next, and just a little wink here, I think heat 3 could be in for a show. Let's get to heat number 3 here at Anderson Speedway. Alright, welcome back to heat race number 3, and this one could be the most stat field yet so far here tonight, and we have not 1, not 2, but 3 of the drivers that were battling for last year's feature win in this same heat. So this is going to be very interesting here in this one. On the pole is Kasumi Takashi and the number 31 now, Mountain Dew Machine. And then Travis Crampton, the last year's feature winner, and the 05 Dodge. Mauricio Vebelis in the number 99, and Matthew Burnett in the 03. And losing the number 38, the Constellation race winner. That is no longer, but the caveat for him is that if he does not make it all the way through the feature here tonight, when we get to the B main, he will be in a position where if he already advances, there will be 7 making it to the B main. But if Anluz does not advance, then there will be 6 plus Anluz. So this has B main implications for Anluz here tonight and everyone else in the B main. Then we have Stuart Graham, the 3rd driver that was involved in that crazy finish last year. We have Bradley Weeman in the number 6, Tyler Jericho in the number 51, Local Dawn in the 33, and Alexander Rowe in the 48. Only the 3rd heat race of the night, and this might be the most stacked one yet. Caleb and then Brennan, who you got for heat race number 3?
Well, so far we've seen here tonight, the pole position is where you want to be. The last 2 heat winners have been won by our pole sitter. So I'm going to do the natural thing and not pick the pole sitter this time around. I'm going to go with that number 99, Mauricia Vebelis. Echo's developmental driver there. We know she is a very aggressive driver. So it'll definitely be interesting to see what that 99 has in the tank for this heat race. But I definitely watch out for that 99 machine.
I'm going to be completely biased here. There's only one Team Warp driver that is in the field today, and naturally, he's driving a Dodge. But I'm going to go with Aaron Luke, starting in 5th place in that number 38. Starting on the inside is already off to a good start. He's going to have to pass a couple of cars in order to get up into the lead, but if he's at least in a pretty good spot to make the A main, if not win the heat.
Yeah, see what Aaron can do. A lot of B main implications. He's basically guaranteed a spot no matter what, either from the A main or eventually from the B main or whatever. But we gotta see what ends up happening here. These two were battling for the race win last year in the Little 250 along with Stuart Graham, and they are all in the same heat. Kasumi Takashi and Travis Crampton on the front row, and heat race number 3 is underway. Oh boy, and loose curve gone to the pond. And Burnett is going to take advantage from the top to the bottom, but Bradley's going to say, no, I want that spot. Crampton was able to go from second to third on the outside lane to the inside lane. Local Thorns all the way on the move, and the number 33 machine. And this is going to be very interesting. I think this is the most stats heat up to this point, and it's proven it to be the case. Local Thorns going to send it on Bradley, almost turns him off turn number 2 and 4, and this is a massive trouble spot for Aaron Lewis right now. He is all the way at 9th in the 38 machine.
Definitely not to start that 38 car one. It got shuffled up to the outside and slipping all the way back to 9th, now battling with the 51 of Tyler Jericho, who also probably didn't have the start that he wanted. One car who definitely had the start that he wanted, though, was that 05 of Travis Crampton. Despite starting there on that outside pole, able to slot in on the inside and just lost a single position. Is now riding around in the 3rd position, trying to hang on, though. He went wide there through 3 and 4, which could potentially allow this 33 of Rogel Dorn to close in a little bit. So he's not exactly home free, is that 05 of Travis Crampton, but right now trying to hold on to this final transfer spot. That's behind the 33 of Rogel Dorn. You got Alexander Rowe, Stuart Grattan, both trying to potentially make their way here up through the field, as Grattan looking to try and take that 5th spot away here from the 48.
Boy, Rogel Dorn being to the inside of Crampton, and he's gonna try and take out last year's feature winner from the A main. Top 2 are kind of broken away, but we have 2 of the drivers that were battling for the feature last year going to the B main right now, and Rogel Dorn is pulling away in the number 33, still not even halfway through heat race number 3. Burnett is in the back, right up here low, and all these guys are outside of the top 3s. Going to the inside of Crampton. These two know each other very well from last year's Little 250 feature. Rogel Dorn's trying to pull away. Fabulous is pulling away massively. And how about Takashi? We saw of what kind of speed she had last year, and she has almost a 2-second lead in this heat race here tonight. Grattan and Crampton cannot really close up to the top 3, and this could be a massive storyline if Grattan and Crampton miss the A main and have to go to the B main.
Well, if they want to make it to the A main, they're gonna have to work together to start catching up with some cars. As you see Bradley Ream trying to get past the number 48 car, and the 48 slides up the track.
He's on the wall.
Alexander Rowe got into the wall there, and now the 51's going to try and take advantage of that. Tyler Jericho. All these guys are just trying to battle to not be in the D main, as I think at this point they're not going to have a shot of making it into the A main. So just trying to get one rung of the ladder out, and Aaron Lukes naturally dropping to the back. If that isn't a microcosm of how Team Warp's gone so far, I don't know what is, but up in the front, Takashi's absolutely gapping the field. I feel like this is going to be a pretty fast average heat time. This could be potentially a pole run for Kasumi Takashi if this continues.
trouble.
I was saying, whoa.
The 48,
Rowe.
Alexander Rowe,
and
another one.
Tyler Jericho as well. I think we just saw a repeat of Heat 2 all over again. Guys, we'll see that in the corner of the screen. But back to you, Bryn. I gotta agree, this is a really fast heat, and all a 5/10 faster on the average for Kasumi Takashi in this heat. So, what a heat for them, and a tough way for Alexander Rowe in the number 48.
Definitely same to be said there for the 51 of Tyler Jericho. Both those guys kind of struggling here early in this heat, fell towards the back and just started going at it with each other, and rolled over a little bit there between number 51 and 48. So really, really tough break for those two, but the tensions continue to boil here as we head throughout these heats. But man, what a clinic this 31 of Kasumi Takashi has put on the field here in heat number 3. I've got a gut feeling they probably got a chip on their shoulder after losing out on the race victory in the feature last year. Gonna try and grab redemption this time out, and already showing it so far with a dominant performance here in heat number 3.
Almost caught to the back end of the field in the 25 lap heat with only 10 cars. Dominating performance from Takashi, Febbles, and Rogel Dorn will all make it to the A main. And then Glenn and Crampton to the B, Weem and Burnett to the C, and then it would be, of course, Alexander, Tyler Jericho, and Aaron Lutz in the D. Aaron Lutz is a wild card because he is guaranteed to make it into the feature with that consolation race win, so he's basically gonna have a bunch of track time here tonight. But not what we were expecting here from, honestly, you know, Aaron Lutz, who won the consolation race last year, but Glenn and Crampton are going to the B main here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Two of the faster cars from from the last race, including last year's winner, gonna have to climb up the ladder just a little bit in order to make it into the A main. Of course, not too steep of a task, but of course, being fourth and fifth, you will have wanted to have run down Rogaldorn in that 33 car. But yeah, Kasumi Takashi, absolute flyer of a of a heat there. 3 seconds up on Mauricia Vebels. A heat time that was almost 7/10 faster than the other two. I honestly don't see anybody running faster than that. I don't want to call it too soon, but I think Takashi, there's a really good chance that she's going to be your pole sitter in the A main. And yeah, that's just an absolutely dominating performance here. And like Caleb said, possibly racing with a chip on her shoulder after almost having that win last year, but getting into that incident with Stuart Grattan right at the end, trying to look for redemption this year.
Yeah, definitely. That 31 put about as much of a clinic on the field as they possibly could. Like you said, 3 seconds. That is a crazy gap here for just a 25 lap race around a quarter-mile track. I definitely say that 31 is racing with a bit of a chip on their shoulder after what happened last year, but already starting off here on the right foot with a win here in heat number 3 and a one-way ticket to the A main. Same could be said, of course, for Mauricia Vebels and Rogel Dorn. Good stuff there from those two as well. Stuart Grattan and Travis Crampton, unfortunately, just not quite enough. They're going to be going to the B main. Definitely not the most ideal situation for those two, but still a somewhat decent spot. Especially compared to guys like Bradley Ream, Matthew Burnett. They're going to the C, and Aaron Lukes, Tyler Jericho, and Alexander Rowe going to be having to go at it at the D main. Really tough break, especially for Jericho and Rowe, especially after getting into it with one another for our second incident here of the night. And considering how much tempers are flaring, it seems like right now, probably won't be the last incident we see here tonight. Probably not the last incident we'll see here in these heat races, but we'll just have to wait and see how these final two heat races end up playing out. But what a drive there for the 31 of Kasumi Takashi here in heat number 3. And like Brennan said, I also think that it might be a bit early to call, but I think that time could probably stand very well.
Absolutely. The way that Takashi gained 3 seconds, just for reference, a lap down here is just over 12 seconds. So that is a quarter of the lap time that you do here for Takashi, and Takashi was almost lapping to the tail end of the field. So wicked fast time, and that would probably stand for the fastest time. That's 6/10 faster than everyone else so far in the previous 2 heats for the average. Let's get to heat race number 4 here at the Anderson Speedway with a couple of crazy heats already here in the little 250. Welcome back to heat race number 4, and what a night it has been with these heat races. Not a lot of lead changes, but a lot of action behind them, and we gotta see what happens here in heat race number 4. On the pole is Leonard Kochma in the number 14 Dodge, and then the number 41 of Aaron Abel, the number 98 of Priya Shane, and the number 12 of Will Parrish, the number 42 of Rasha Mahindra, and the number 37 of Sergio Alonso, the number 4 of Eric Monaco, and the number 25 of Angel Gutierrez. And then rounding out the grid is the number 70 of Duncan Wood and the number 57 of Jack Haas. Alright, Brennan and then Caleb. Heat race number 4, there's a trend going on, but what are you guys going to pick for heat number 4?
Yeah, I'm definitely picking up on that trend. The pole sitter has been untouchable in the heats, and I think this will be no different. Leonard Koshmer is going to take the Pilot Flying J car to victory lane in this heat. He's in the best spot for sure. We have not seen the leader get passed on the track yet, but that isn't to say that it can't happen this time, but I'm going to go with the trends here.
The trends are definitely pointing in that direction. Definitely a good pick there with Leonard Kochfer. I think I'm going to go a row back here and pick that number 98. And that was machine there of Priya McShane. Definitely with a good starting position there. We've seen things get kind of crazier. It seems like as the night does go along, Heat 1 was pretty calm, but Heat 2 started to pick things up. Heat 3 was pretty chaotic with a lot of shuffling going on there from about second on back. So definitely watch out to see how this heat ends up shaking up. But definitely watching that number 98. They're starting in the third position. I feel like they're in a pretty good spot.
We gotta see if this heat keeps on building up as the other three. Now last heat, Heat 3, oh my goodness. The shuffling was crazy at the start. You had to make up as many positions as possible. We gotta see if that ends up happening. After this, we have one more heat left. But here we go. It will be Kochma and Abel bringing us the green for heat number 4 in the Lil 250. Oh, Duncan Wood thought about making 3 wide. We've not seen 3 wide all night long, and of course it would be Duncan that would think about making the 3 wide move. And Abel in the trouble spot, starting second on the outside lane. And how about Rasha Mahindra? One of these new drivers already up to the second place spot in 3 laps at Anderson Speedway.
Fantastic start there.
Duncan Ward.
Oh boy. Duncan Ward getting really aggressive at that number 70. He's not here to make friends, and he's absolutely showing it early on here in number 4 as he continues
When
to
has
march
he
his way
ever-
up the field. Oh, Priya's in the wall, and here comes Duncan Ward
From
the
9th to
last
3rd.
row all the way to 3rd in the span of 5 laps.
What a drive for Duncan Ward. You said he's not here to make any friends, but really, when is he ever? And he has put his aggression and gotten some good use out of it. Moving up to P3, a bit surprising to see that bounce car, Priya McShane, falling back so much and then getting into the wall. Usually 3rd place has been a pretty safe spot to start to make it into the show, but there it goes to show. Your starting spot doesn't always guarantee that you're going to be in a good spot, as we've got a battle right here between the 4 car of Eric Monaco and the number 12 of Will Parrish. Parrish will take the 4th spot away, and a lot of shuffling going on in the back. McShane almost up into the wall again. That 98 is struggling big time.
Every position back here matters. 4th and 5th to the B, 6th and 7th to the C, 8th, 9th, 10th to the D. And every main will make the night either a little bit easier or a little bit harder as the night goes on here for the 2nd annual Lil 250. What a jump from Duncan Ward, what a jump from Rasha Mahindra. And I'm really impressed of what they did on that restart, on the start, especially, you know, first Rasha Mahindra from 5th to 2nd like it was nothing, and then Duncan Ward 9th to 3rd. That was a aggressive start. I knew he was going to be aggressive early, Caleb, and he made almost 3 wide for the first time tonight, you know. If you know anything from last year, 3 wide is definitely a no-go, but what a start for those 3. And how about this Dodge and this Heat? There's only 3 of them, and they are all inside of the top 4.
Harris doing a solid job in that 12, trying to close back in after getting into it there a little bit with the 4 of Eric Monaco. But yeah, you were talking about that 70 of Duncan Ward. Looking to maybe try and send it 3 wide, and we know how much that works at this racetrack. Spoiler alert, it does not, but can still somehow keeping his car clean here for now. And he's done such a great job here making his way up to 3rd. But Will Parrish in the number 12, not looking to go down here without a fight. We could get a brawl here between the Dodges for this last spot here in the A main. Parrish needs to stop washing up the racetrack, though, if he does want to have a shot here at this 70 machine of Duncan Ward. However, if he can't continue to keep closing the gap here, he definitely could potentially have a shot here.
not seen that many battles for the third and final transfer spot into the A main, especially later in the heats. But Will Parrish is trying to make one happen here. Bria McShane and the 41 car are battling each other. Aaron Abel, that is for 6, so that wouldn't really affect which race they end up in. But that 12 car is catching up. It's just a matter of if Parrish has enough time left. I think Duncan Ward might have used up a lot of his stuff on that start of the race, and it's paid dividends so far. Just as a matter of if he can hold on for 5 more laps. It's looking pretty good, though. He's got a steady gap over Will Parrish, despite the fact that Parrish has been closing in every once in a while on him. But about even that last time by. I think time's running out for Parrish. I think Duncan Ward is in a pretty good spot right now, and I think Leonard Koshmer's in a pretty good spot to win this heat.
I think so as well, and for Leonard Koshmer, he did not have a good year last year in this event, turned nickel same deal 2 times in the feature, but I don't know why. But he's trying to make it up here, trying to win his heat, and once again the trend continues, and this is why it is so important in that bingo shuffle that out instead to be up towards the front, because every heat winner so far has come from the pole. Leonard Koshmer will win heat race number 3, and this will be the second fastest heat so far. Washer Mahindra in second, and Duncan Wood will hang on for third. And then it will be Will Parrish and Eric Marco in the B, Aaron Abel and Angel Gutierrez in the C, and then Bria McShane, Jack Haas, and Sergio Alonso in the D main. Whew. These heat races keep on getting more and more aggressive, and that is just going to continue as the rest of the night goes on. Only one more heat left, and then we go to the intense part of the program of the D, the B, and the C. But how about that? Duncan, he was aggressive early, 9th to 3rd, and then was able to hang on to make it to the A main here tonight.
Yeah, that was really the main big moment, defining moment from this heat. The drive from Duncan Ward at the start. We know from his experience in the Wawa Cup Series how aggressive of a driver he is. He's not afraid to use up the car in front of him, and he did that all at the start, so he wouldn't have to do it later. And Duncan Ward definitely used that aggression effectively here. And the surprise, I think the big surprise to me was Bria McShane, because she was in a great position. I mean, I'm pretty sure 3rd place has made the A main in each of the first 3 heats, but there are no guarantees here in the little 250, and Bria McShane just fell all the way down to the D main. Just a big tumble there for the 98. And you say that they keep getting more and more aggressive. That one was pretty calm, all things considered. There were no incidents this time. But you did see some aggression from some of the drivers in some of the battles. And I'm excited to see what this final heat has in store for us.
We a bit of a tone down in the aggression here of this heat, although we did see some quite spine-tingling moments there. Definitely have to give a lot of credit there to the 70 of Duncan Ward. Showed a lot of aggression here in this heat, like we were talking about. Absolutely made it pay off, as he will be in the A main along with Rasha Mahindra and Leonard Kochmer, who drove a great race here as well. Will Parrish, Eric Monaco, they're going to be in the B main. Aaron Abel, Angel Gutierrez to the C. Bria McShane, Jack Haas, and Sergio Alonso all going to the D main. Really tough break there for the 98 of Bria McShane. They started in the 3rd position, had a really good shot at just safely making the A main, but unfortunately it just doesn't really look like that 98 was up to par with a lot of these other cars. Maybe it was just a bit ill handling, but that's a really tough break there for Bria McShane. Got a lot of big names, it seems like, here going to the D main, so we'll definitely have a lot of strong contenders once we do end up getting to that. So that's definitely going to be something to watch out for as this night does go along. But a bit cleaner of a Heat 4 than I maybe expected, but still got one more to go. And it's going to be interesting to see how that ends up playing out, because once that is said and done, we will have all of our mains set, and we can really start getting into the nitty-gritty of things here from the Anderson Speedway here for the little 250.
Absolutely, and kind of like last year, the heats were a little bit more calm, and then when we got to the LCQs and the consolation race and the feature, things got crazy, and it's going to be interesting if how it all shakes out, because there is no consolation race, there is no LCQ, and we're going to have a full field of 22 cars in the A, B, and C, and then I believe 15 in the D. So it's going to be interesting. We still have one more heat left. Let's get to heat race number 5 here tonight from the Anderson Speedway. Alright, what a fun night it has been so far here at the Anderson Speedway. 4 heat races down and 1 more heat race to go here in the 2026 Little 250. And then we will go B, C, and D racing before we get to the feature. And here are the final 10 drivers here tonight. We got Mateus Pinto in the number 3 iconic looking paint scheme from Mateus Pinto and this machine. And then Dylan Matthews in the 49. Logan Williams in the number 17. And Joey Hightower in the 62. And then the number 81 of Bruno Giacomo. And the number 69 of Bryce Egan. The number 79 of, Benny Lawson. And the 85 of Ace Racer. And then running at the top 10 is Caleb Rose in the number 59. And then the number 88 of Anthony Hernandez. And real quick, Caleb, I think you have a little bit of a backstory on this 59 car.
And this 59 car is based actually on the first ever online race that I ran all the way back in 2023, and what is now the HARA, the the Heritage Auto Racing Association, formerly known as SCORE, formerly before then known as DIOR. And definitely tell you what, the rabbit hole for that series runs quite deep, but definitely a bit of a keepsake in the memory as this car. It's honestly kind of just a silly thing that I threw together, but really a bit of an interesting car there, that is for sure.
Definitely interesting car, McClure motor oil, and it's apparently for sale, so yeah, if you want a little 250 late model, I guess it's for sale. But here we go, final heat race of the night, and Caleb and then Brennan, who are low pits for the 5th and final heat race of the night.
Well, we've seen the trend and how it's gone so far. The pole sitter definitely usually seems to get the edge on the rest of the field, and this time around, the pole sitter happens to be none other than Dale Earnhardt there, the number 3. Mateus Pinto, though, sporting a really sporty livery there in that number 3, and I'm going to go with him to get this heat win. The trends all pointing in the direction of that number 3, so I definitely will have to watch out for that number 3 machine here in this heat. But definitely going to be interesting to see how this last heat of the night ends up playing out.
Well, this is going to be a tough choice for me since I can't just pick the pole sitter again. But I see one car that catches my eye. I see a number 62. I see a Toyota. I see Joey Hightower up at that outside lane. I know he's starting in the outside lane, but we've seen drivers move down to the inside a couple of times from 2nd or 4th to manage a good result. So I think Joey Hightower from row 2 is going to have a good shot at this thing if he can play his cards right, and I think he can.
We've seen a couple times here tonight where, unlike last year, these drivers have been able to get from the top to the bottom maybe a little bit easier. So maybe you might be on something there, Bryn. Thanks for everyone that's tuned in already for the heat races so far. And after this is where the real action begins, with the D, the C, the B, and then the A. Pinto and Matthews will lead us to the green. The 5th and final heat race is underway at Anderson Speedway. As we've seen it all night long, the inside lane with a great jump. How about Watson all the way on the move in the 79? Same with Caleb in the 59. Hernandez started 10th and he's all the way on the inside lane. The outside lane with a terrible start this time. Hightower, Matthews, Egan all the way to the back of the field in just 2 laps here at Anderson Speedway. And right now it is the number 81 of Bruno Giacomo with the final transfer spot. And how about this? We got Caleb and Benny right next to each other, right in front of each other, and here we go side by side for 2nd.
Side by side up here for the 2nd position as Logan Williams there falling down to 3rd. Benny Watson holding on to 4th here for the time being. Hernandez up into 5th. We're getting involved in a little situation, but we're good. We're good. We're good. Probably not the start of the heat that we wanted, but still got a little ways to go, and anything can happen. But Benny Watson definitely off to a really sporty start here as he's trying to close in, hit a number 17 of Logan Williams, looking to try and take 3rd away. Anthony Hernandez there following in tow, and the number 88, but here comes the number 49 as somebody got into the wall back there. But early on in the going, a lot of shuffling going on here in heat number 5, and have to see how this translates as this race goes along and eventually into the later events here tonight.
You're seeing that top 3 breakaway, and that's been a trend that we've seen in these heats, but Benny Watson is not too far behind that number 17 car of Logan Williams, so we could see a battle for this spot heat up in heat number 5 pretty shortly. Alexander Rowe started from the front row, rather that's Dylan Matthews in the 49. I don't know why I thought it was Alexander Rowe, but Dylan Matthews not too far behind, didn't lose too many spots, and here we go. Benny Watson to the inside of Logan Williams. This is for a spot in the A main, and it looks like he's going to clear going into 3 and 4. But I don't think that's the end of this battle. Logan Williams is still going to be there, and he's going to have about half the heat to get back by Benny Watson. But that 79 is on rails and pulling away from the 17.
Watson is flying here in the 79 machine, and of course he made it in last year as an LCQ. Actually, he was the last one that made it in to the heat. And the way that we did last year, he started 20th, and he might not be in that position here this time, but what a whale the 79 is, pulling away from Logan Williams and Dylan Matthews. Anthony Hernandez, Caleb Rose, Joey Hightower, Ace Racer, and Bryce Egan round out the 10-car grid. And something about the front row and this pole spot, but it is just so easy to pull away at the start when it is only 10 cars in the heat race. But something tells me that won't be the case for the rest of the night. And Bruno Giacomo in 2nd, Benny Watson in 3rd. Logan Williams keeping Watson in check, along with Dylan Matthews in 5th. If, you know, one of these guys have a slip up like that, Watson almost into the outside wall. We've seen that time and time again. These guys tend to slip up sometimes. And this is not over for the third and final transfer spot.
Not over indeed, as Williams trying to close back into the 79, but he goes a little bit wide there himself. This time by 7, coming to 6 laps to go. He goes wide again through turns 1 and 2. That could allow the 49 Dylan Matthews to close in a little bit here. Anthony Hernandez also trying to close in as well in that 88, looking to try and make this battle for the B main interesting. But coming to 5 to go this time by. It's been a great run so far here in this heat for Mateus Bento, looking to close it out. Bruno Giacomo also looking sporty there in that 81. As far as we're concerned, from what we've seen so far, 3rd on back could still very much be up for grabs as these guys continue to go at it.
Yeah, that 79 is pulling away just a little bit. He's got about a second on the 17. Oh, up the track and almost into the wall goes the 88. That could be a spot there for Caleb Rose, although both of them right now are currently sitting in the C main, so it wouldn't really affect which race they're going to. But out in front, coming to 2 laps to go, Mateus Bento. It's just what we've seen in all these heats. The leader has not been able to get past. And it's going to be 5 for 5 for the pole sitter here if he can make it around one more time.
It's going to be 5 for 5 for the pole sitters, and I believe he will be the 2nd fastest heat winner here tonight. Mateus Bento will move on to the feature, and then Bruno Giacomo in 2nd, and Ben Watson in 3rd. Logan Williams and Dylan Matthews will go to the B. Anthony Hernandez and Caleb Rose will go to the C, sorry Caleb. And then Joey Hightower, Ace Racer, and Bryce Egan will go to the D main. And Bento did another lap. He was proud of that one. And that's going to wrap up for the heat races. Some of them had a little bit of carnage. A lot of them were pretty tame. But I have a feeling that now that these guys know that they don't have a second chance is do or die now with the B, C, and B mains. This is going to be interesting for the rest of the night here in the Little 250. And what's our final thoughts, Ben and Caleb, as we have a short break and get the track ready for the D main?
Definitely quite the interesting turn of events here so far tonight here from the Anderson Speedway. Definitely quite the interesting couple of heat races here tonight already. They got a taste of what we might see here as the night goes along, but definitely could get a lot more chaotic. We've seen some chaos already brewing here in the early stages of this race, but as this night does go along, the tempers are going to rise, the anticipation will rise, the patience is going to start running especially thin. So I have to see how all that transpires once we get to the DCB and eventually the A main feature tonight. But definitely a solid start here to the night here from the Anderson Speedway. Got to give a lot of credit here to our heat winners. I'd have all started on the pole position, but hey, that's where it matters. We were talking about it all night long. That pole position is where you want to be here. Get the best jump off the start, and everybody who started on pole here tonight just absolutely took off and did not look back. So great stuff there from all those guys, especially Mateus Bento here in heat number 5 with a 73.308. I believe that's second fastest, but it does look like it will be Max Davis, I believe, winning the pole for the main event. So great stuff there for him. But
Kasumi Takashi.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Takashi.
Yeah, Kasumi. Kasumi Takashi winning the pole for the main event. So great stuff there for them. But Bruno Giacomo, Benny Watson there also going to be in the A main. Logan Williams, Dylan Matthews going to have to go to the B. Anthony Hernandez and myself going to have to go through the C main. Not the most ideal situation there, but it could be worse. Gonna get to sit out for the D main, which probably should give me enough time to go grab a DQ chicken strip basket. But really tough break there for Joey Hightower, Ace Racer, Bryce Egan. They'll be sent to the D main, and we'll have to see if they can maybe pull off an alphabet soup. Same for all the other guys that are being sent to the D main. It's definitely not impossible, so I have to see how the night does end up shaking out. But definitely a fun start here from the Anderson Speedway. It's going to be really interesting to see how the rest of this night will end up shaking out.
Yeah, but this heat was pretty. It was pretty by the numbers, but there was a lot of stuff going on for sure. Benny Watson, Logan Williams had a great battle for third there about halfway through the heat. Logan just wasn't able to quite mount to charge back on the 79 car, but solid heats all around. Again, nothing too crazy happened. We did have a couple of incidents. We did have a couple of hard chargers for sure, but definitely just the appetizer for our event here tonight. And things are going to get a lot crazier as the night goes on, as we saw last year. And it's just the heat, so there's still plenty of time for things to kind of start going to more chaos as we get into the different mains for sure. I'll be interested to see if anyone's able to climb the ladder, pull off the alphabet soup, going up through the D main. It would be quite a story if we ended up getting something like that happening, but definitely a good heat for Mateus Bento for sure. He's going to be starting second in the A main. Not necessarily the best place to start as we saw in the heats, but you got more times in the mains you got more time in the mains, you got more laps to run, so doesn't automatically spell disaster for you. And that's what Mateus Bento is definitely going to be hoping for.
Absolutely, and for everyone that always in the feature, congratulations. You can relax during the B, C, and D mains and make any adjustments to the car before the 250 lap feature. For everyone else, this is where it gets tense, because the heat, so you knew that no matter where you finish, you will get a second race at least here tonight. Whether it be the D, the C, or the B. But now, as we get to these sub-mains, if you don't move on, you're done. So the pressure is going to be high, and we will see if who can move on from the D to the C, to the C, to the B, and then the B to the A. Thanks for Flynn and Kale for showing me here for the heat races. And let's go ahead and jump straight into the D main here at the Little 250, presented by Gainbridge. Welcome back to the Anderson Speedway, and welcome back to the Little 250, presented by Gainbridge here for 2026. We have completed all 5 heat races, and now it is time for some serious races here tonight. These are the D, the C, and the B mains, and for these drivers, at the end of this segment, only 6 or 7 drivers will make it, depending on how Aaron Lutz does here tonight. Because if he goes to the B and is inside the top 6, then it would be the top 7 in the B main. But if he does not make it all the way up from the D to the C to the B, then he will still get a automatic starting spot in the feature, and therefore there will be 6 in the B main that advance. But first we have the D main, and for these guys, they did not have a good night so far with the heat races. Some of them crashed out, some of them got a bad start, and this is their last chance for some of these guys. Luckily, 12 out of the 15 will make it after 50 laps, but for 3, their night will be done here right now at the Anderson Speedway. And at the top of the night, I said that we were going to have a rotating cast of commentators, and well, we got some new ones here. We got Alex himself and Joe Wachowski from pit lane and in the grandstands, wherever they were, up here in the booth, and welcome to the Little 250.
Thank you for having us, Nathan. It's great to be back here for the Little 250. I remember last year when we had that incredible finish at the end. I just watched it the other night, and I still can't believe that happened. And hey, thank you for putting this on. This is such a fun event to get so many people involved with custom cars and everything, and I like what we're doing this year with the D main, C main, the B main, and the A main. Have these guys kind of go up instead of just having a bunch of LCQs and you really only have one chance. All these guys, even though they finished poorly in their heats, have a chance at really working their way up through the field, and 12 of these guys are going to make it in, so you got a really good chance of making it through the D main onto the C main to be able to continue on tonight. But going to be a lot of fun. These heat races, these main races, I should say, are going to go by really quick. Only 50 laps here for the D main and the C main. I'm excited to see how it goes down. A lot of big names here in this one, but I gotta be honest with you, Nathan. I'm just happy my boy Benny Watson made it on. Now, this is the one race I put my driver in on the channel, and I'm just glad that Benny's in the main and don't have to worry about him tonight. So I'm gonna have fun watching these alphabet mains here tonight, D, C, and B mains with y'all here. It's gonna be a lot of fun from Anderson Speedway.
Ready for some alphabet soup, and
Sure.
starting out with a lot of big name drivers in this D main, as you mentioned. It's gonna be fun to watch, see which 12 can move on. And thank you, Nathan, for having me up here. I'm excited to be here. I think this is my first Little 250 in person, so I'm looking forward to being here to call the action. And I'm sure we're not gonna be short on any action through these 3 mains here. The D, the C, and then the B.
Absolutely, and of course, if it's anything of what it was last year, and of what we've always seen here tonight, we could see some tempers, we could see some bang, because these guys know that after the B main, if they don't finish up front, they are done for the night. Let's go through the 15 drivers to stat D main here tonight. 12 out of 15 will move on from the D to the C, and on the pole, it is Henry J. Brown in the number 34, and alongside him is Nico Samadea, who's not had a good time in this event so far. Got turned twice in the feature last year, and he's in the D main here tonight. Aaron Lutz in the number 38. He's pretty much in no matter what happens because of the consolation race last year, but he wants to have a clean car so he doesn't have to go to a backup car. We got Priya McShane and the number 98, the number 62 of Joey Hightower. You have the number 11 of Marcus de Jesus, the number 54 of Michael Lewis, and the number 51 of Tyler Jericho, the number 57 of Jack Haas, the number 85 of Ace Racer, the number 65 of Avery Alford, the number 0 of Matt Black, the number 48 of Alexander Rowe, the number 37 of Sergio Alonso, and then the number 69 of Bryce Egan. 15 drivers, 12 will advance from the D to the C, and for 3, the night will be done. First Alex and then Joe, who are little pits to win after 50 laps in the D main.
Well, I know we saw the pole sitter win each of the heats, but those were only 25 laps and only with 10 cars each. We got 15 cars and 50 laps. I think there's a chance we'll see lap traffic, which means I think we'll see a pass for the race lead, and I think we're going to see Aaron Lukes do the alphabet soup. I don't think he's going to fall on that provisional. I think he's going to race his way into each of these main tonight, and it's going to start by winning this D main here in the little 250.
I agree with seeing some passing, but I think we're going to see a little bit more passing than that. I'm going 5th place starter Joey Hightower to win his way through the D main to get into the C main.
We gotta see if one of those two can end up winning. Of course, the way that these guys are in the D main, in theory, you don't really have to win. You just gotta, finish top 12. But every position will matter for the C main, because if you win, you'll start 11th in the C main, and that is very plausible to make it on to the D main. Here we go. We've done 5 heat races, and now it is time for race number 6. The D main is underway at Anderson Speedway. And we've seen this all night long. The inside lane is where you want to be, especially at the start. And all the way up to 2nd and 3rd are both of those pits up here. We've not had a caution yet. We've had some lets down pit lane, but we not had a caution yet. But these guys getting antsy contact.
Almost one there.
Jack Haas is saying with Dio cannot catch a break. Michael Lewis to the inside of Troy Hightower. These guys gotta be careful because they are all inside the top 12 here early on.
Yeah, you don't want to end your chances here. This is a lot like the last night shootout for the Indy 250. Only 3 guys failed to make it on. And, we saw some guys, fail to make it. I don't think any of those guys who failed are in this D main here. We got some 3 wide. We got a wreck. That's going to be a wreck.
Oh.
No caution, though.
No caution. They kept it green.
Oh, wow. And the reason why they didn't have the caution is because no one was coming towards them. They were able to drive away. So how about that right there? That is not good at all for those drivers there. Alexander Rowe, that's the 98 machine of Priya McShane. She started 4th, and she's all the way at the back, and that was Ace Racer. Not at all what those guys wanted, and that means we're going to have lap cars very early on here in this D main. It could get interesting up front.
I don't even know, was Ace Racer in the crash, or did he just slow so much that he fell back there, which is kind of unfortunate for him. He was like the one guy behind the crash, I believe, and it ended up kind of costing. So, those two, as you mentioned, they're now at the back. They're going to have to, the leaders will have to deal with them, obviously, but now they're going to have work to do to move their way through into the top 12, and I mean, it's a good ways up now. They're about 2 to 3 seconds back of the 12th place driver, so they have a lot of work to do, and yeah, there's still some shuffling up here. There's still some side-by-side. They have calmed it down a little bit. They've, kind of spread out, which is good to see. Don't want any more crashes, obviously. You kind of know that you nearly have a top 12 spot locked up. There's really only one car in that battle right now. Car number 37, Alonso, is back there, actually going to try and pass here. So there is still that battle for 12th, but really at the moment, if these, top 12, 13 can keep on running fast laps, they can try and pull away from the bottom 2, and then only one of these top 13 will be able to not move on.
And that's very unfortunate for, Priya McShane. I honestly really like this paint scheme. It kind of reminds me to Kyle Wilson's old paint schemes at Ganassi and the now Wiley series, so it's unfortunate for that. And we've seen that before last year, where sometimes the officials are fairly lenient here at the Anderson Speedway, even though it's a fairly narrow quarter-mile racetrack. But Henry J. Brown doing a great job out front for now. And in 2nd, 3rd is Joey Hightower, 4th is Michael Lewis, 5th is Jack Haas, 6th is Avery Alford, 7th is Tyler Jericho, 8th is Marcus De Jesus, 9th is Matt Black, and 10th is Bryce Egan. He was outside of the top 12, and now he is in 10th, and maybe getting into the 9th position, contact with Matt Black there. And then you got Sam Dio in 11th, and you got Alexander Rowe in 12th. And this is interesting, because Pedro is outside of the top 12, but you got the 85 and 98 who are also closing back in to these guys. So even though they have damage, it's not really affecting them that much. But tell you what, Alex, that 34 of Henry J. Brown, he is quick. And on a 4-mile short track where it's only 12 seconds a lap, he has almost a 2-second lead.
Yeah, we'll have to see how he fares when he gets to lap traffic, though, because he's going to get to these guys in the back here very soon. Priya McShane, Ace Racer there, and here's Alonso. It's a tough break for him. Just hasn't had the speed so far here in this little 250, and I know he didn't get a good qualifying effort in the random draw. Trust me, guys, that was random when I did it. All right, but I'm excited to see how this whole race changes once we get to lap traffic. And that's what makes the feature of this so interesting, because it's 250 laps, a full field of 22 cars. And we saw the lap traffic majorly come into effect. Is how about Ace Racer going to the inside of Alonso right there? And how about Alexander Rowe getting to the inside of San Mateo? So now that last spot going to be between Ace Racer and Nicholas San Mateo here in just a moment.
I think there's some anger behind Ace Racer driving up through here. I think he's kind of angry the caution didn't come out. Now he has to make up all the ground on the track. So he's pushing all it's worth here, trying to get up there to that number 89. We'll just have to see throughout this race. That car looks pretty fast. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if he can get by the 89 and drive by. The question is, will he be able to, and will he have the tires? And think about this, San Mateo's on the cut line. He started second in this race. So he has dropped 10 spots. That's just, being on the outside. He couldn't find a hole in the car, probably not handling to his liking. But he's dropping back. Ace Racer is closing in, and we can very well see the outside pole sitter for this main drop out and not be able to advance through. You can see right here, Bryce Egan continuing his march up through, up to 7th by Tyler Jericho. And the 51 will slip back a couple positions, but he has to just stay patient, stay careful. He has a decent gap over that cutoff line at the moment. Don't want to push it too hard, but now the leader's in traffic, Nathan. So this is where it gets interesting if you are the race leader in the number 34, because you need to be careful here. These guys are pretty aggressive back here because they have nothing to lose at this point.
And this is where this track gets so interesting. It's only a quarter mile, and you gotta be careful, Ace Racer. He's been pushing his car, and now his tires might have burned up a little bit. The tires, we got a hard tire, so we don't pit in the feature, but you can still hurt them a little bit if you push it too much. And I think the race leader just tapped the wall a little bit off turn number 2 there. Turn 2's been the trouble spot, and as Alex was saying, these lap cars, especially with this being an equal lanes event, it's kind of hard for these guys to get past the lap traffic, and it went from a 2+ second lead to now down to 1.7 for Anluz. And this is not ideal. Alonso gets a little bit up the racetrack, and unfortunately, it's not been a good night for Alonso, who I will give a shout out to. He helped make a lot of the new paint schemes this season with this race. For the little 250, a lot of drivers kept the same scheme, but Hiljo made a big chunk of the new ones, including this one that he made for himself. So, might not be the night that Hiljo wanted, but wanted to give that shout as while we can. But right now is a fierce battle as Ace Racer is still trying to close in to Nico San Mateo.
Yeah, he went back to Herschel. He did so much work to actually help this event kind of get to where it was. I know you got concerned about getting these schemes, but Herschel locked in for us, and I greatly appreciate all the work he does, not only here for the little 250, but just as a whole for the graphics and the schemes that we do on the channel. I mean, and here on the AG of the channel, as you all know, it's a multi-person effort with what we do now, and I wouldn't be able to do it without all the great guys around me to put all this stuff on and make Indy 250 Week as great as it is. And Nathan, this event is a huge part of that now, and love being here on this Thursday night. Always a fun night for me. I'm already in Cleveland, ready to get over to Indianapolis for the big race on Sunday. I know we're gonna have a lot of fun on Sunday, but we're gonna have a lot of fun as this night goes on, and we're gonna have a fun time seeing who makes it in. Ace Racer's trying to close in on San Mateo, and how about this if Nicholas San Mateo, who's a two-time Indy 250 champion, he's gonna be in the race on Saturday and looking for his third over there. Gonna get knocked out in the D main. Only 3 guys get knocked out, but he wants to put a buffer there, trying to get to the inside of Matt Black for that position.
Nearly got there. Remember, the Zero was also involved in that crash, right?
Yeah.
He was a part of that 3 wide, so that's why he has damage on both doors. He's done a really good job, Matt Black has, keeping that car running to the best that it can, even with the damage on both sides. Obviously, it's a short track. It doesn't really affect it that much, as we've seen, but it could definitely affect some sort of handling, speed, characteristics of the car. And so far at the moment, San Mateo's doing a good job just maintaining the gap back to Ace Racer, but one little bobble, one little mistake could definitely pile everyone on. You can see a great job at Henry J. Brown getting through traffic so far. just kind of staying calm, staying consistent, and he's kept that gap at about 1.9 seconds or so, give or take a few tenths here and there. So he's done a great job, and already we're getting into the final 5 laps, 6 to go at the line, and the battle for the cutoff so far is still the same. Battle for the lead not really existing at the moment. It's just been it's been that clean race besides that one accident we saw, which didn't bring out the caution.
And I'm not too surprised about 3 wide. There's kind of 2 trouble issues on this racetrack. As that is a slip up from Henry J. Brown. Turn 2, you kind of get tight and slide up into the wall or someone. And then turn 4, that seems to be where they try and go 3 wide. And it does not look on a track like this, as we saw for, unfortunately, Priya McShane. I don't think it's going to work out for Ace Racer. He tried fairly hard to close up to the 89 of Sam Dio, who's not had a good luck in this event already. Last year he made a feature, but as I mentioned, he got turned twice by Leonard Kochman in the same feature. I believe that was back cautions as well. But Henry J. Brown, he's going to be at the white flag. He's going to dominate this D main here, and he will be moving on, and he has a good chance of moving on to the B, because he will start 11th in the C main. Henry J. Brown will move on to the C, along with Aaron Lutz, Joey Hightower, who barely got 3rd, Michael Lewis, 8th round for the top 5, Jack Haas, Tyler Jericho, Bryce Eakin, the 11 of Marcus De Jesus, the 48 of Alexander Lowe, the 0 of Matt Black, and the 89 of Nicholas Sandio. They'll move on to the C, and unfortunately, Ace Racer, Priya McShane, and Sergio Alonso, their nights are done in the D main.
It's a shame for those guys, but that's just the way it is, and we can't fit 50 cars on this track. That wouldn't work, so they did a great job, and it's a shame for Priya McShane, Ace Racer, and even Alonso just did not have the car, and getting caught up in that accident did not help him at all, but we've gone, how many laps now without a yellow flag? We've seen a lot of incidents so far tonight, so very unique. But I think things are going to get even more interesting when we move on to the C main and the B main, because we're going to have full fields now. We got 22 cars on the racetrack at one time, and the lap traffic is going to become more of a factor sooner rather than later. And you guys like Henry Brown, Aaron Lukes, Joey Hightower, you got a good chance at actually moving your way up into the B main if you have a good run in the C main here. So gonna be a lot of fun, and I'm excited to see some new guys here, because we're just getting started here tonight in the little 250.
Yeah, I'm really excited to move on to the C and the B, because like you mentioned, now we do have that full field out there, 22 cars, and yeah, it's still 12 drivers getting through the C main, but that's now 10 spots that don't move through. So the intensity level will ramp up, even without that traffic, just racing in general throughout the pack. Drivers will start to make maybe a little bit more aggressive moves, knowing that spots are at a premium. You need to get them while you can, and could lead to some trouble, could lead to maybe our first caution of the night. So yeah, it's gonna be an exciting run through these mains, and a pretty good D main. We saw some contact, we saw some aggressive moves, we saw some good battling there throughout the pack, and in the end, unfortunate, as we said, for Ace Racer, Priya McShane, Sergio Alonso to miss out, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles, unfortunately. And like you mentioned, we can't squeeze a bunch of cars on a racetrack this small. I don't think it will work quite all that well. We won't have any racetrack to race on.
Yeah, if we tried doing 50 cars, I think the leaders would cut to the tail end in 1 lap. So that's not ideal. Very unfortunate for those 3, but they will be in the grandstands. I would imagine, and be enjoying a great night. We've done 25 laps in each heat, 125 plus 50, 175 laps, I believe. And we've not had a caution. We've had 3 crashes, but we've not had a caution yet. Will that change in the C main? Let's find out right now at the Anderson Speedway. Welcome back to Anderson Speedway for the Little 250, and now it's time for the C main. From here on out, you will have full 22 car fields, and that is where this racetrack truly shines, and we are going to see lap traffic come into a factor. We're going to see all 22 cars in each of these mains duke it out like crazy, because this could be the last race of the night. 12 drivers from the C main will go to the B main, and then the final 10, 13th on down to 22nd, the night will be done. Joe and then Alex, what's your thoughts on this point forward now, since we have a full 22 car field for the rest of the night?
Yeah, this is where it gets really fun, Nathan. This is where we start to see the big fields. We start to see lap traffic come to play a lot earlier. We start to see some pushing and shoving, maybe some more 3 wide, maybe some more contact. And this is the point of the night where their drivers know, like, yeah, it's still 12 spots up for grabs in this main, but there's 22 now. So there's 10 people that are going to fall out, not be able to advance through into the B main. That's a lot more than what we saw last time, where only 3 people missed out in the D main. So nearly half the field is not going to make it through this main, and that increases the intensity just a little bit, knowing you need to get track position when you can, because we see it gets strung out, could get hard to pass. But now we also have the lap traffic to come into play that could hold the leaders up too. So it's gonna be a fascinating watch over these next few mains, Nathan. I'm excited to get going here in the C main.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be interesting because this is the first time we've seen all night. We've got 22 cars on the field, and we saw how this played out in the feature last year, where that lap traffic really came into play. And you know, you got to be careful because only 12 guys are going to make it on, and if you end up getting shuffled to the outside, you could actually end up losing enough spots where you don't end up making it onto the next main. So I don't know. It's going to be fun. We got another great group of drivers here who qualified their way into the C main, and it's going to be a tight one, no doubt about it. But I'm excited to see what the guys from the D main do in this one and see if we have someone that go all the way through, because I think it's very possible we could see that here tonight. But hey, let's get it going, Nathan. It's going to be a lot of fun here from Anderson Speedway.
It's going to be a lot of fun. The first 10 are drivers that qualify into the C main from the heat races earlier tonight. And let's start off with our winner from last year's Little 250 feature of David Dixon, and alongside is Alexa Salzman. Carson Miller, who's been red hot in the NR community as a whole on all 3 of our series, and he's trying to make it into the B. Marcus Glitch and Bradley Ream, Matthew Burnett, and Abel, and an Angel Gutierrez, so I will briefly shout out. He gave me the idea last year for this event, so there's that. Anthony Hernandez and Caleb Rose are the last 10 from the heat races to go to the C, and then 11th on back are the drivers that we just saw advance from the D to the C. We got the D main winner of Henry J. Brown, and then analysts in the number 38, Joey Hightower and Michael Lewis, Avery Alfred and Jack Haas, Tyler Jericho and Bryce Egan, Marcus De Jesus and Alexander Lowe, and then Matt Black and Nicholas Sandio will round out the 22 car field in the C main. 50 laps still, but 22 drivers, Joe and then Alex, still a little pits to win the C main.
I know the pole winner has been the one to win the race so far here tonight, but it's going to change this one. I promise that it's going to change, because Carson Miller is getting it done from 3rd place. He's going to get up there. He's going to pass the leader, and he's going to continue his stretch of momentum in NR offline. He's going to win this main, transfer through into the B main, and maybe never look back.
Well, you say Carson Miller's got momentum, but little do you know, he failed to qualify for the Indy 250 this year. So sorry to drop that bomb on you guys before we recorded that race. Obviously, you all know that now when you're watching this. So I think there's a big chip on his shoulder coming into this because of what happened, and I'm sure he's looking forward to tomorrow's Freedom 100. But you know what? I'm going to go with the safe pick, and I'm going to go with David Dixon in that 45 to win this C main. I think he's going to have a good shot at it, and after what we've seen so far tonight. But hey, this may actually be the first race where we don't see the pole sitter win, so we'll see how it all goes down.
We gotta see. I like both of those pits, and I like David Dixon because he did finish. He ran top 5 all night last year in the feature, and he got a 2nd place finish after what happened to Takashi and Stuart Grand. We have some big names here in this one, and only the top 12 will advance, and 10 will go home. It is David Dixon and Alexa Salzman on the front row, and we are racing for the C main in the Real 250. Great start for David Dixon, great start for Carson Miller, and we gotta see what ends up happening, because this is the same distance as Oh my goodness, and this very aggressive move. Not surprised about that one bit, but same distance as, of course, the D main. But a lot more drivers in contention. David Dixon on high, and that's going to open up the door for Carson Miller to maybe take the race lead.
Could we see a lead change? No, he didn't get the run off the corner, and he'll stay in behind him, though. He is definitely pressuring him. Bell for third back there as they are side by side for the lead. He's going to get him this time into turns 3 and 4. Great move out of Miller, and he will take the lead away, but still early on, and we still have a lot of racing to go. So, you know, maybe he's pushing too hard right now, and the other drivers are just saving their stuff a little bit.
Yeah, one thing that we're seeing here, these guys, you know, don't cut down as quick as they should. And because of that, they get stuck in that outside and they just fall all the way back. But how about a Carson Miller? Just that's a natural pass for the race lead without lap traffic getting in the way. That 55 is wicked fast here in this C main. And like I said, Carson Miller's got a chip on his shoulder from what happened on Sunday. So I know he wants to get this win. And I'm going to have a hard time not calling this Carson Miller because that's exactly the car he drives in the Wall Wall Cup Series. But that's his team owner, Aaron Abel, who's going to take second away from David Dixon. 45, a bit off the pace there. But a good race so far here in the C main. Already so much more competitive than what we've seen so far.
That's kind of what I was hoping would happen, and we saw this in the feature once we got a full track of cars that got fairly competitive and already very competitive here early on. Right now, it is Caleb Bowles with that final transfer spot, and now is the 11 as I think Alexander Lowe just had a moment off of turn 4, and he's done! No! And Carson Miller gets into him!
Oh no, the 6 Ream! Oh, and others!
The track's blocked, and that's a terrible spot as the Zero just hit the wall in the back.
Oh my goodness.
And there is our first caution.
I didn't expect it like that.
And there was the tire for Alexander Lowe.
That's going to take him and Matt Black out of contention. Henry J. Brown's down the pit lane, and so is Bradley Ream. We saw Bradley Ream get caught up in that one. Such an unfortunate turn of events there. It's the absolute worst place for that to happen here on the racetrack. My goodness.
Well,
Ream's done. Bradley Ream's done.
Wow. That I didn't even think he got hit that bad. Wow. Well, we kind of assumed this would be a first here on the night. First pass for the lead. And first caution of the night. It almost didn't take us until almost 200 laps, but that's going to take some drivers out of the winning of making it onto the B main. And let's go ahead and see what happened for the first caution all night long in the 2026 Little 250. Here we go. This will be our first caution of the night here in the 2026 Little 250, and unfortunately it is Alexander Lowe having a rare mechanical / tire issue. It was a tire on the 48, but we normally don't see that here at Anderson Speedway. And luckily, Matthew Burnett got by on the inside. But this is a bad place to have it happen anyway, but especially off of turn number 4, because Alexander Lowe is going to stop right here off turn 4, and then Carson Miller tried avoiding him, but he gets a piece of it. And then Bradley Ream's going to have nowhere to go in the number 6 machine, and this is a much bigger hit than I initially thought. Not this one, but the second hit with Henry J. Brown. And that's going to take Bradley Ream out of it here. Angel Gutierrez is going to hit the 48 a little bit. Not too many cars were involved. But then the Zero of Matt Black, he ended up getting stuck in the wall. And there's this little entrance that is how you enter the track, I guess, and he hits it. And that takes him out. So, tough break for Matt Black there, tough break for Alexander Lowe. But that is our first caution of the entire night in the Little 250 event here tonight.
Alright, here we are coming up the back straightaway. You'll see the moment the tire failure really right in the middle of the corner. And then as Nathan mentioned, the literal worst spot to have a car stopped on the racetrack. Blind exit of a corner, right in the middle of the track. Leader gets into it, then Bradley Ream. And just the whole rest of the field. Everyone, I mean, look at, everyone else did a really good job. And then the Zero, unfortunately, with that wall hit. But a crazy one there. We'll see if the craziness decides to continue here in this C main. Because now we're going to have a restart. And they could be pretty chaotic.
definitely can. Single file restarts catch up to the lap traffic a lot sooner. We gotta see how much that damage will affect Carlos Miller in the 55 or if it won't at all. Let's go ahead and get back to the first restart of the night here in the C main. Well then, welcome back to Anderson Speedway after the first caution of the night, and we have the 0 and the 6 Bradley Williams and Matt Blackout out. The 48 of Alexander Rose 3 laps down, and Henry J. Brown had to fix his damage. He is 1 lap down. We have 18 on the lead lap, back winning on lap 16, and for you, Joe, this is going to be a learning experience. These restarts here are chaotic at Anderson Speedway.
Of course they are. You need the track position now. Everyone's bunched back together. Might as well get it while you can. And you can already see there is some... Oh, look at back there. That was a great save. Oh, my goodness. That was completely sideways. Oh, now
Caleb.
Caleb's in the wall. Get out there, Caleb. Come on, man.
Yeah, I mean, he's thinking he's in tow car or something. I mean, what the heck? Oh, boy.
Wrong series.
Yeah, he's got to be careful. Anthony Hernandez is flying. He is all the way up to second now, and they're almost 3 wide there. It almost looked like they were 3 wide. David Dixon battling with Avery Alford's had a great run in this race so far, and Michael Lewis there, and my goodness, I forgot how awesome these restarts were, Nathan. This is some good stuff here. We got battles all around and a lot of shuffling. And remember, only the top 12 make it on. Alexis Selzman in that last spot right now. Caleb Rose and Nicholas Samadeo has both found their ways in, but Samadeo down the outside, and Selzman going to try to get to the inside of the 89. Not going to do it, and Samadeo holding on to the last position once again.
Deja vu for Nicholas Samadeo. He had to hang on for the last spot in the D main, and he has to do it all over again, and we are still not even close to ending this one here in the C main. Cosmo's doing okay with his slight damage of it being a short track. Hernandez is moving in this 88 machine. He finished 9th, well, he started 9th here, and he's up to 3rd and maybe up to 2nd. Dixon in 4th. Michael Lewis in the 54. He went from the D and he's in the C right now. 8th Ralford. Then we got Marcus De Jesus. We got a lot of drivers actually that are on the move from the D to the C main right now. Tyler Jericho as well. Same with Dio. And right now, we are watching this like a hawk. 25 laps in that slump by. And right now, the last spot goes to Marcus Glitch in the 77.
To tell you how much that spot has been changing. The last time we looked at it was Jack Haas, and now he's 3 spots back at that. So this is changing. It is shuffling back here for that 12th spot. And it's going to change, I think, some more before this main is over, and I think other positions are going to be changing too. They started to calm it down just a little bit from the restart, but they're still packed pretty closely together. One little mistake out of a drive. You can see Jack Haas back to the inside, and back here. You know, it's unfortunate for the 34. Henry J. Brown had a really good car in that D main, and I thought it was going to be a favorite to get up here and get through the C main pretty easily. And especially with the starting spot right inside lane in 11th, I thought he was going to have a really easy shot through, and it looked like he was going to until he got collected in that crash. So very tough break. We know that car is fast. Oh, the 11 is in the fence off turn 2, and Tyler Jericho's getting around.
Caleb Rose having a good run in this one. I'm impressed with Nicholas Samadeo. I know he's 11th right now, but he was able to move his way through pretty quick right there, considering he almost got knocked out, but he just gave a spot up there to Marcus Glitch, and he's got to be careful now not to let Alexis Selzman by. It looks like Aaron Lewis is going to have to fall on the provisional in that 38 machine. That's a tough break for him right there, but you know, he'll be in it. He won that consolation race last year, and he's going to be in that A main because of that. But no one's getting that this year for next year, though. You know, we're just doing it as we normally will next year. But how about this battle between two? I guess Alexis Selzman specifically isn't a legend. Tyler Selzman was. Sorry to bring that name up, Stuart. But, you know, this is definitely a tight battle. But Alexis Selzman unable to get to the back bumper of Samadeo. And wouldn't this be something if he made it in on the last spot both times? It's very possible that could end up happening for Mr. Edge right there.
Very well could. And what also very well could happen is lap traffic determining the race winner here. Because you got Aaron April, who ironically is Cosmo's team owner in the World Cup Series, and we're catching up to the tail end of the field, and these guys are piling hard for some reason, and this is gonna be very interesting, especially if they get side by side. You got Hernandez in 3rd, and then you got Michael Lewis all the way up to 4th after transferring from the D main. So You got 3, maybe 4 cars battling for this race win here, and this is important because if you win, you will start 11th. If you second, you will start 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th for the top 5 right now in the B main. So this is important, and now here we go. Lap traffic in the hands, and Aaron Abel is closing in to Carson Miller.
This is going to get exciting here because these cars, these lappers, are not going to be an easy pass. Aaron Abel, though, went really wide through turns 3 and 4. Really missed the corner. He's going wide again, but Carson Miller, he has them side by side in front. That's going to be such a nervous feeling. You're in right now. You don't want to push too hard because, once again, you only have to finish top 12 in this main to make it through into the B. It's a great battle for third here. Hernandez going to lose it to Michael Lewis on the inside, but you know, there's just this weird thing in Carson Miller's head. He goes wide again. You don't want to push too hard to get up into that lap traffic, get yourself into a mistake that's going to ruin your race. At the same time, you don't want to lose the lead because, like you mentioned, you could start 11th in the B main, but he's going to lose it to his Cup team owner. Here comes Aaron Abel to the inside, and Michael Lewis is going to have a say in this too, it looks like.
Yeah, how about this? And then we just saw a position change for the last transfer spot as well in all this. Alexis Selzman got around Nicholas Amadeo. As Amadeo's falling back now in the clutches of the 36 machine there. Definitely going to be an interesting run here to the finish. That's not the 36 machine. Who is that? It's 25.
25.
I couldn't read it. Tough break there for Nicholas Amadeo. Angel Gutierrez there on the 25 machine, but I tell you, this battle for the win is going to be really tight because how about Carson Miller trying to get back to the inside of his Cup owner there? He's going to get back to the inside, and we got 5 laps to go. And this is very important because this means you're going to start in the inside lane if you win this C main in the B main. You're really going to have a great opportunity at advancing on to the A main if you get that inside lane starting position in 11th for the B main. So both Aaron Abel, both Carson Miller know that, and I think Michael Lewis knows that as well, but I think he'd be content with third. But Aaron Abel going back again to the inside for the race lead.
This is what we were looking forward to here tonight. Once we got to these full fields, these guys are antsy, trying to start on the inside lane. Michael Lewis, he's content, but here comes Avery Alford. He might get that 3rd place spot. Where did Alford come from? In the 65 machine. 2 laps to go. And a lap front in the number 41. He's going to pass Aaron Lewis. He's going to have to go on that provisional. He will start 22nd here tonight. But it is the white flag for Aaron Abel in the number 41. Side by side between the 54 and the 55, but this might not be smart for Michael Lewis. He's going to get it anyway. Aaron Abel's going to move on to the B main with that win in 11th, and then it will be the number 19 of Alexis Selzman grabbing the very last spot, and the first one out is Mr. Edge, Nicholas Amadeo, in the number 89.
Tough break for Nicholas there. Held that transfer spot for much of the race, but if I'm Carson Miller, that might be the best getting past moment he's had, because now you get to start on the inside for this B main. So yeah, he lost the spot here, but he's probably gonna make it up easily on the start unless something crazy happens in the B main. But what a race! I mean, goodness, I think in those last 10 laps we saw like 4 or 5 lead changes. We made up for the first few races of the night.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be interesting because that B main now, we know it's going to be top 6 because Aaron Lukes is not in it. And Aaron Lukes is going to be 22nd starting position in the A main, and then that's that. So only 6 guys are going to advance on into the feature in the B main, and there's still going to be a 22-car field. So those battles up front that we just saw, we're going to see again in the B main, and it's going to get wild. So I'm excited for it. Congratulations to Aaron Abel, Michael Lewis, Carson Miller, Avery Alford, Anthony Hernandez, Tyler Jericho, Bryce Egan, David Dixon, Caleb Rose, Marcus DeJesus, Marcus Glitch, and Alexis Selzman getting that last spot. Tough break for the guys who got caught out in that one, but we're going to keep on rolling here tonight, and we're just getting better and better here. That's how it is, and that's how it was last year, and we're going to have one heck of a finish to this event here in just about an hour and a half.
Absolutely, and that's what I like about this event. The heat's set up for, in this case, all the mains, and then the mains are where it gets wild. And unfortunately, tough way for Nicholas Amadeo, Angel Gutierrez, Matthew Burnett, Jack Haas, and this would be in with the provisional of 22nd. Joey Hightower, Henry J. Brown, and then Alexander with that tire issue that blew out the first caution of the night, and then Bradley and Matt Blatt, they are done with destroy race cars, unfortunately, here tonight. But for the top 12, they are going to be in the B main, 75 laps, 22 cars, and only the top 6 will make it. It is the last chance to get into the second annual Little 250 feature. And let's get to it right now here at Anderson Speedway. Alright, this is the second to last race of the night. And what a night it has been. Thank you to everyone that has been watching up to this point. Such a big task and a lot of stuff behind the scenes to get this all set up. And we are one race away from the 250 lap feature. And we have some fairly big names in this B main. We have 2 drivers that competed for the feature win last year in this B main, starting up towards the front. And we got some big names that have made it from the C to the B. And we got 4 or 5 drivers that have gone on from the D to the C to the B on trying to get into the A. Allison and Joe, how do you think this is going to look out? We saw the chaos of the B of the C main there, but we still have 22 cars. However, there's only 6 of them. The top 6 will make it into the feature, and we have 75 laps instead of 50.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna get really interesting here because, like you said, only the top 6 advance on. We know Aaron Lukes didn't make it on. He's got the provisional. That's set. That's squared away. So only 6 spots remain for these drivers here in this B main. Excuse me. We already did the C main. And I don't know how it's going to play out because we saw in the B main how quickly those guys ended up getting the lap traffic. Of course, we did have a restart and a single file restart, and that really got those guys closer to the back of the field. But Carson Miller had a really fast car, couldn't quite beat Aaron Ebel there, his team owner, and we saw a lot of battling for the race lead, and there's only the top 6 spots. We could see that type of battle for the 6th and 7th positions in this one, but I'm intrigued to see how it goes down. I mean, we got the likes of Stuart Gratton in this race. Defending Little 250 champion Travis Crampton is in this one. He is starting 6th. Not necessarily the best place to start, but we'll see how it goes for him. I'm intrigued to see how this goes down. It's going to be a lot of fun here from Anderson Speedway.
Yeah, I have those same thoughts. We just saw an amazing C main. There was shuffling all around, whether it be for the lead, even for the transfer spot at a bunch of times. And now, as AG mentioned, we just moved that all up to the top 6 spots. So it could very well be a battle for the lead and for the transfer spots too at one point if the field gets stacked up enough in lap traffic and whatnot. But this is the B main, where the intensity level is going to be off the charts. These drivers are going to be ramped up to full tilt to try and get there into the top 6. They know now that their night could definitely be over. There's 22 cars for only 6 spots. I mean, 16 are going to be watching on the sideline from this race, and I'm looking forward to it. If it's anything like we saw in the C main, we are in for one heck of a treat, Nathan.
Definitely going to be interesting on who will make it on into the B main. As we've seen, this is where you want to be at this point. The racing is fantastic with these final 3 mains, and we gotta see if these 5 drivers can pull off the alphabet soup, go from the D to the C to the B, and then to the A. Michael Lewis, who starts 12th, Avery Alford, who starts 14th, Tyler Jericho, who starts 16th, Marcus De Jesus, who starts 20th, and then Bryce Egan, who starts 17th. So they all start kind of deep and on the outside lane, but we gotta see if they can do it. And on the pole for this B main is Charles Bones in the throwback type throwback that I really like. I'm not even gonna lie. And then Hallie Anderson Jr. on the outside. Bernardo de Oliveira in 3rd, and Javier Vasquez in 4th. Stuart Gratton and Travis Crampton in row number 3. And then we got Will Parrish and Eric Marco in row number 4. And then row number 5 of Logan Williams. He had to win his LCQ last year to get into the feature. Can he move on through the B main? And then Dylan Matthews. 11th on Batman from the C main to the B main. And we got Aaron Abel, the C main runner. Michael Lewis, Carson Miller, Avery Alford, Anthony Hernandez, Tyler Jericho, Bryce Egan, David Dixon, Caleb Rose, Marcus De Jesus, Marcus Glitch, and Alexis Salzman in the number 19. 75 laps, 22 colors, but only the top 6 move on. Allison and Joe, it's the final race before the feature. Who you got to win the B main?
You can't spell greatness without GRT. This is just such an obvious pick. I'm sorry to take this away from you, Joe, because I think it is a very obvious pick. Stuart Gratton's going to win this, and he's going to start outside lane, but he really wants some redemption from what happened to him last year. And, Kasumi Takashi already starting on the pole for the feature, so she's already where she needs to be. Stewart and Travis trying to get back there as well. Stewart's got an easy spot. I'm intrigued to see what Travis does, but Stewart's going to win this B main here from Anderson Speedway.
You went one row too far back because it's going to be Bernardo winning. I have to pick my driver, even though he's not my driver in this race. He's my driver at heart. Bernardo's winning. He's beating greatness behind him.
I like that. And we gotta see if who gets dropped on. Thank you for everyone that's joined up to this point. And after 75 laps, it will be the Little 250 lap feature here tonight. And this is where it gets very, very nervous. Only 6 drivers will move on from the B main into the A main. It will be Charles Bowen and Hallie Anderson Jr. lead us to the green. 75 laps, and we are green for the B main. Charles Bowen's all the way on the move, so is Stuart Gratton in the number 23. But one thing that we gotta keep an eye on, this is 75 laps, so even if you get stuck up top, you could have time to look a little way back up. Gratton's all the way up to second, he's flying, and you might be onto something there, Alex. He's all the way up to second, Bowen pulling away, and we gotta watch out for this top 6. That is all you need to do, and look at it, Aaron Abel, he's all the way inside of the top 6 in 3 laps.
Aaron Abel's definitely a strong driver. I mean, we saw him get the Carson Miller in the C main, and here he is. But speaking of Carson Miller, here comes Carson Miller for 7th there on the 13 machine. And, he's going to have a good opportunity at this one here, I feel like, because that 55 showed a lot of prowess in that C main. Actually made a pass for the race lead without any help. But Aaron Abel trying to get to the inside of Will Parrish right here. Can't quite get it there. Travis Crampton is the big story here because obviously he won this race a year ago. He's a defending winner, and he's in a position right now that's not too good. He's got to get to that inside here soon, and it looks like he might finally get it right here. But we'll see if he has enough. He fell all the way back to the 15th position, to the 16th position, and he's actually going to lose some more here as the 4 machine of Eric Monaco moves to the inside. So it's the thing, you do not want to get stuck in that outside lane here, but still a long ways left to go here in this B main as Carson Miller trying to get that last spot away from Aaron Abel.
A repeat of the C main, except it's not for the lead this time, it's for 6, but still a major position. Miller will take it on lap number 9, so these two could be trading. And watch out, behind them, Bryce Egan's playing alphabet soup. He started all the way back in last place in the D main, and he drove his way through the field, made it through into the C main, then made it through into this main. And who knows, he's back there, he's quietly in 8th. If those two start battling in front, if he can hold off Caleb Rose behind, we could see Bryce Egan do some alphabet soup. And further back, you see the 19 making a pass to move inside the top 10, and still some shuffling going around. No shuffling at the front, the leaders have pulled away, but all that's doing with them being so strung out like this is allowing them to catch lap traffic probably even faster, because these guys are running great laps, and these guys back here are in a mess. It's just, Alex had mentioned it, and we see it with the 05 there, still dropping back. Travis is on the outside. You get stuck back here, you're basically in an eternal battle. You may think you have a spot gotten, and then someone, the guy you just passed, will come back immediately the lap later and take it back from you. And that just continues to slow you down and lose you time not only to the leader, but to 6th place as well. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out, but these leaders are already nearly to the back of the field. We're only 14 laps in.
And we saw this in the feature last year. Oh, never mind, we're under caution as Tyler Jericho is impaled in the wall.
That's going to end his night. I can, not too many things you say confidently in commentating. That will end his night.
Well,
that's a shame. Is that the first time we've seen that tonight, Nathan?
It is. We saw that once last year, and that's the first time we've seen that here tonight. we can breathe. We were about to catch up to lap traffic in only 15 to 20 laps, and that's all it takes here in these races, and Tyler Jericho's already done. He's already taken it to the garage. Tough play for Tyler Jericho. I thought he was going to do something here in this B main, but let's go ahead and see what happened for the second caution of the night and the first one in the B main. We saw this all of last year, and we've seen it here tonight. 3 wide does not work. Jericho slipped up the racetrack into Anthony Hernandez, and then Hernandez pinched down Jericho into Marcus De Jesus, and this is probably the best way to hit it, with the right rear and hard into the tire barrier, and that's going to bring out a caution. Don't know why that was a caution and not some of the other pit road shenanigans that we've seen here tonight, but regardless, that's a destroyed race car for Tyler Jericho, and he's one of the 5 guys that tried going from the D to the C to the B to the A, but that's not going to happen for him. Tough break for Tyler Jericho in the number 51.
Well, you're going to see here, 3 wide. Doesn't really work at a place like this. Anthony Hernandez on the outside, Tyler Jericho, Marcus De Jesus going to spin that 51 hard into the inside. And that's always been a thing here at Anderson Speedway. That pit road wall is in a very unfortunate place, and Tyler Jericho's night is going to end. Tough break for him. That's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes here in the little 250, doesn't it, Nathan?
Absolutely. We've seen it sometimes here. That's the second time we've seen the pit wall at least get hit directly. And tough play for Tyler Jericho. I thought he was going to be able to be the one to go from D to the A, but we got to see what happens here. It's still a long way to go here in the speed main. Can Charles Bowen win it from the pole, or will it be Glenn, Local Williams, Bernardo de Oliveira, Will Parrish? This is the stat B main, and let's go ahead and get back to it here on the restart. Welcome back to the Anderson Speedway, and we still have 55 laps to go at the line next time by, and under caution for the first time in the speed main. Tyler Jericho is, well, done. So it will be 21 cars on the lead lap and on the racetrack. But how long will it take for lap traffic, and how will this restart be? This is crucial for so many drivers. As Wilkman's from 9th to 3rd, can he get to the inside? As Costamil is on the bubble, and that's going to put the 12th on the bubble. And Bryce Egan, he's one of these drivers trying to do the soup from D to C to B to the A, and he is 1 spot away.
Yeah, that's definitely an impressive feat out of Bryce Egan. He started dead last in the D main, and here he is almost in the position to make it into the A main, and anything can happen in the A main. I mean, last year we saw Stuart Gratton in last place at one point, and he almost won, and rightfully could have won that race. Caleb Rose, though, going to get to the inside of him in this 59 machine. You know, Caleb wants to be in this thing with his boy Benny Watson. We know we want to see that, right? And Bernardo, your guy to pick, your pick to win there, Joe. Kind of just around that bubble right there. That's for the last transfer spot right now. Lexus Selzman trying to make her way on as well. Aaron Abel slipping back. Not a good restart for Abel. I'm intrigued to see what Crampton does if he takes advantage of this restart and tries to move his way through. He basically fell to the back of the field right there. But he's going to get some time. And oh boy, that got tight there with De Oliveira and Bryce Egan.
Ooh, that's not even the transfer spot at the moment, because Caleb got by them. So that was for 7th. Egan getting aggressive there, and we had a pass for 2nd. Logan Williams got by Stuart Gratton, so he's going to try and set sail and get further away from that bubble and close in on our race leader. As we say that, he goes up the racetrack. But yeah, now we'll see. Bryce Egan is in clear track to run down Caleb Rose for 6th, and we know he's going to be aggressive with Caleb. Caleb threw it to the inside of Egan for 7th a few laps ago. You can see the 41 is still falling back there of Aaron Abel. Kind of a tough break, a bad restart for him as Bernardo's trying to come back on cell spin. We'll get the position to the inside, so moving back further forward to 8th place. He'll still have a shot to try and get to Caleb in 6th. The front 5 have gotten a little bit of a gap, which is good for them. They can breathe just a little bit easier, but Caleb's trying to run them down to get himself away from the bubble at the same time, and Bryce Egan trying to maintain pace, and we still have the threat of lap traffic if this race stays green too, Nathan.
Absolutely, and we've not seen lap traffic yet, but we are already to that point with Marcus De Jesus in this number 11 machine. And this is Anderson Speedway. This is a cool mile racetrack. It will not take long at all. And Charles Bowen, he's controlled this race up to this point, but he has some heavy hitters behind him. Logan Williams, Stuart Glenn, Carson Miller, Will Parrish, Caleb Rose, who I don't know where he came from, but he has driven his way inside the top 6. And Bryce Egan trying to do the alphabet soup. Bernardo Theovera in 8th, Marcus Glitch, and Alessa Salzman from 22nd to 10th. Not too bad for the number 19 machine, but right now would not make it in. And this is going to be very interesting now, because on top of the race win, we have an intense battle for all throughout the top 6.
Yeah, absolutely. And Charles Bowen is definitely a guy who wants to hit this B main win, but I almost don't know if you want to win the B main, because you actually start 16th in the A main, which is outside lane. We're already seeing how that move that Carson Miller made in the C main has benefited him. He's 4th now, and that would not have been possible if he started outside lane. I mean, we saw what happened to Travis Crampton. He started 6th. As Stuart Gratton's going to get back to the inside of Logan Williams here for 2nd. And he wants to be that guy to get to Charles Bowen, but Gratton's in a position now. That's a place you want to be in, because you're going to start inside lane for the A main, and maybe you want to be 2nd. Maybe 2nd is the battle that you want here, and these guys just let Charles Bowen run away with this thing.
Yeah, there you go, right? Just back it up a little bit, keep 2nd place. Now you're pulling away from Logan a little bit, so maybe Stewart can just ease on in there in 2nd place, and as you mentioned, during the inside, because we have seen all night long that the outside at the start, it's just not the place you want to be. I think back there we actually have a pass. Couldn't quite tell. Yeah, Caleb's trying to get himself out of 6th and put then the pressure on Will Parrish. So a great run through the field for Caleb here in this B main. He has come alive. He has a really, really good car at this stage. And the leaders are still in lap traffic, and the gap is coming down. Bowen needs to really start to make work if he wants to win this B main. Stewart is starting to close in. Logan's coming with him. They could have Carson Miller with them. We know Carson, he battled for the win in the C main pretty much all night, or all race long there. So things are starting to ramp up now as we get into this traffic, and we still have over 30 laps to go. So this thing could easily change, a few more ways, whether it be for the win or for that transfer spot.
And of course, we saw last year, it doesn't matter if it's 2 laps to go or 30 laps to go, things can easily change. You have the Anderson Speedway. Bryce Egan is closing to the back bumper of Will Parrish back there for the transfer spot. Gotta watch out for that. Stewart trying to get to the inside, but then again, I don't know if he really wants to, as Caleb's got it into outside
He's got
wall.
it here. Stewart's going to take the lead here, guys.
And then here we go. Stewart, Allison said it, you can't spell greatness without GLT. Well, Stewart wants the speed main win.
Yeah, and I mean, I know he's thinking about last year and what happened to him, and that he's got a chip on his shoulder. If anyone's got a chip on his shoulder coming into this one. And so does Carson Miller. We know what happened to him in the Indy 250. He's not going to be in it. So, he's in a good position right now. But Caleb Rose has done an excellent job in that 59 machine. Caleb's going to be in the Indy 250. We're excited to see that. I'm intrigued to see how that ends up going. He's had a great run in qualifying over the weekend and going to be starting towards the front. But right now the focus is on this race, and Logan Williams in a great position now in 2nd. Charles Bowen slipped back to the 3rd position, and Stewart trying to pull away now from the rest of this field.
Stewart's doing a really good job in lap traffic. He's now put 2 cars between himself and Logan in 2nd, which is exactly what you need at a track like this. Now obviously Jesus is going to try and pass back there. Caleb Rose is trying to pass for 4th here. I would say, wager if this race were a little bit longer, he could probably go up there and challenge Stewart for the race win. He's flying right now, and there he goes. He's going to get 4th here from Carson Miller. What a drive for Caleb Rose in this B main. He saved the best for when it matters most, and he was, down there fighting for that transfer spot about 20 or so laps ago, and now here he is. He's driven away from that. He's moved his way up into 4th, put Carson Miller back to 5th, and now Miller's trying to fend off Will Parrish because he doesn't want to fall back to that transfer spot, because then you have Bryce Egan trying to bear down on you. So this is still shaping up in a pretty interesting way with about 20 laps to go. This is far from over, guys, and especially for the 6th place, because Carson Miller's starting to fall back, and Caleb's going for 3rd now.
He's still the 19th in the speed main, and he is absolutely fine. If they put in the same setup for the feature, he might be starting towards the back, but he could have a chance at winning the feature here tonight. And this is crucial for Will Parrish, trying to get side by side with Carson Miller. And this is very important. The race lead is not really a factor right now, but this final spot is 5th place is Will Parrish, 6th place is Carson Miller, 7th is Bryce Egan, and 8th is Bernardo de Oliveira. So these 4 are all battling for 2 spots, and for Carson Miller, he's got to be careful. Cannot make too many mistakes, as Egan has been doing a good job keeping it nice and clean. Crampton is on the move again, slightly in 14th, but he's going to need another caution to pull a lap out of the hat, and that is not good for Carson Miller in 3 and 4.
And Carson Miller, his car is fading right here. He's in that last transfer spot right now. He's got to be careful not to give this away to Bryce Egan. Still holding on to it for the time being, but he's got to be so careful. And at a battle there, Marcus Glitch to the inside of Bernardo de Oliveira there. That's for the 8th position. There's still a couple spots back from the transfer. Stuart Gratton still holding on, but Logan Williams, closed in quite a bit right there. And I think Stuart might be in lap traffic at this point. Might be holding them up just enough. And Logan's right there in the 17, guys. This thing's far from over. And Stuart was in a very similar position in the feature last year. I know he does not want a repeat of that here in this B main.
We're going to need a double box because, I mean, Carson Miller is in a battle with Bryce Egan. Logan Williams in a battle with Stuart Gratton. This is intense stuff. My heart rate's getting going. And, here comes the 77. I mean, the 77's just, he literally just passed Bernardo like a lap or 2 ago. He's going to pass Bryce Egan this lap. He's saved some stuff maybe here. He's starting to pounce here with 11 to go. Maybe Marcus Glitch could be the one instead of Bryce Egan to get to Carson Miller. This battle really helping Miller, though. He can calm down just a little bit now, maybe save some stuff. And but, I mean, Marcus Glitch might be fast enough, it might not matter. He might just run him back down. So this is fascinating. We're in the final 10 laps, and we still don't know who's going to win. We still don't know who's going to transfer through.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go. Here we go. Logan Williams is to the inside. He's going to try and grab it from Stewart here. What a move. And not really assisted by traffic either. This is just pure pace.
Logan saved his stuff here. This is fantastic, and I gotta agree with you. This is almost a double pot scenario, because we got a battle for the lead. We got Caleb who's flying as well. He could have a chance here with the top 2. And we also have a battle for this final spot. Carson Miller trying to go from the C to the B to the A. And Marcus Glitch, he's starting 21st. So he's trying to make it in. So much is happening. We got Dylan Matthews going to the inside of Rose, and now side by side again with Stuart Gratton and Logan Williams.
And Stewart trying to take this away. You want to finish second to get that inside lane. And Logan may have thought about that. It's like, okay, I got the car to beat you, so now I'm going to give it back so that I have a good enough car to start on the inside in the A main. But tell you, it's all over the place, and we're going to have a close battle here with this transfer spot. Marcus Glitch, his car has really come alive here near the end, but will he have enough time? It's only going to be 4 laps to go across the line for him right here.
Less than a minute.
Yeah, it's going to be close. It's going to be very, very tight. If there's traffic, maybe he has a shot. At the moment, I don't know if he can do it one-on-one and really. Oh,
he's got it. He's got it.
Miller's up the track. Oh no!
That's a terrible mistake from the 55. Can he cross him back over though? 2 laps to go. And now for Will Parrish, he's got to hold on to the 77, because if he gets past, he's going to be in a fight with the 55. But it's going to be Logan Williams, Stuart Gratton actually taking the white flag. He will win. And let's see who's going to get this final spot. Carson Miller's not going to get there, I don't think. Well, really? Not quite.
Oh. Wow.
Whew. And it will be Stuart Gratton, Logan Williams, Caleb Rose from 19th to 3rd. The 72 of Charles Bowens from the pole will move on. And then it will be Will Parrish. And then it would be the 77 of Marcus Glitch from 21st to 6th. Oh my goodness gracious.
That was some fun stuff here from the Anderson Speedway, no doubt about it. And Nathan, it's all just been setting up to the main feature. 250 laps here. Stewart's going to be in it. Logan's going to be in it. Caleb's going to be in it. Such a shame that defending winner Travis Crampton's not going to make it on. And he actually had a pretty solid draw as well, but he just started outside lane of the heat, fell back, and could not really recover from it. So that's just the nature of this racetrack. But All 22 guys are going to have an opportunity at it here in the feature in just a couple of minutes, and I'm very intrigued to see who gets it this year because we got a lot of great drivers, and it's going to be a lot of fun. See who gets the 2026 Little 250 here from Anderson Speedway.
Yeah, it's an absolutely stacked field, and like you, I'm looking forward to watching it and rooting on and just rooting on all the drivers to see a really good race. If it's anything like these last two mains that we've seen, we are in for one heck of a show. And I'm a little bit disappointed we couldn't see anyone come from the D main to get through, but still very entertaining right here. We had a pass for the win with like 5 to go. We had the pass for the transfer spot with like 2.5 laps to go. There's not much more you could want out of a B main race than what we saw here, Nathan. And I'm looking forward to this main event, this 250 lap event, because it's gonna be one show, and I'm looking forward to watching.
It's definitely gonna be amazing, and if it's anything like last year, we might be in for a treat. It's gonna be 250 laps, but it's gonna be about an hour. So laps are gonna click on by very quick. Of course, if you go one lap down, you will get a lap back at the halfway caution, but then after that, it's kind of a 50-50. But what a top 6 that moved on. This was a stat B main here, and Stuart Grandin wants revenge from last year. He is gonna have a chance. Logan Williams, Caleb Rose, Charles Bowen, Will Parrish, and Marcus Kalich will move on. And unfortunately, V16 the night is over. Carson Miller, Bryce Egan, Bernardo de Oliveira, Alessa Selsman, Aaron Abel, Michael Lewis, April Alpha, Travis Crampton, and the Seal 5 out defending winner. We will guarantee have a new Little 250 champion here tonight. And he told me a couple days ago he didn't care if he made it in to the feature this time because he won the first one, and that's all he cares about. So, tough play for Crampton to not make it into the feature, though. Hernandez, Monaco, Hallie Anson Jr., Javier Vasquez, David Ditson, second place finisher from last year, is not going to move on. And then all the lap traffic, they were balanced so hard. Only 2 cars were one lap down, Marcus De Jesus and Dylan Matthews, and then 1 car was done in, well, the pit wall, and that was Tyler Cherico in the 51. But huge thanks for Alice and Joe for joining me here for the B, C, and D main. And now, without further ado, 22 drivers, 250 laps, and we will be guaranteed a crown a brand new Little 250 champion. Let's find out. Let's get to the feature right here, right now, at Anderson Speedway for the Little 250 presented by Gainbridge feature. We have completed the heat races. We have completed the D main, the C main, and the B main. And now, for the second time in AG the Channel history, it is time for the feature for the Little 250 presented by Gainbridge, and what a night it has been. We have Travis Crampton out of the feature. He did not make it, so we are guaranteed to have a new winner in the Little 250. 250 laps, the halfway caution on 125 to get a lap back, and then it is all hands on deck to see who will win the second annual Little 250 presented by Gainbridge, and let's find out who gets the job done right now at Anderson Speedway. Welcome back to Anderson Speedway, everyone, and it is go time. We have done the heat races, the D, the C, and the B main, and now we have one race to go, and this is the big one. 250 laps at Anderson Speedway. It will fly on by, and one of these 22 drivers will join Travis Crampton as only the second ever champion of this event, part of Indy 250 week. We have Brennan Wilmington and Kibbles back from the heat races, and what a night it has been. While you guys were gone, we had some crazy B, C, and D mains, and first to you, Caleb, this is a very crazy race we've seen it all night long. And we've seen it in the B and C main. 22 cars on the racetrack like this creates some chaos, but now these guys have to settle in and know that this is not just 50, 75, or 25 laps. This is 250 laps on a 4-mile racetrack.
And definitely, as the night does go along, it starts to tilt more towards longevity, especially once we do get more and more cars here onto this racetrack. And that's definitely shown as these races have gone on. Like you mentioned, you saw a lot of great racing in the DC and B mains, especially once we got more cars out here on the racetrack. So it's definitely going to be really interesting to see how this feature race ends up playing out. But like you mentioned, you got 250 laps ahead of us here tonight, so definitely want to try and keep your head on straight until we do get to the end once everything is said and done. So we'll have to see how that all ends up shaking out, but it should definitely be a fun one. I know a lot of these guys have definitely had their work cut out for them to get to this point, but hey, we are here at the feature race. This is for all the marbles right here, and it's going to be very, very fun to see how this ends up shaking out and who we do see contention once everything is said and done.
Absolutely, and this means what ends up happening here. And of course, for you, Brent, this is the first time you've called the little 250 feature, and this race will be very chaotic. There will be guaranteed at least one restart, and those have been very chaotic all night long. And we saw it last year. Stuart Glenn was a lap down at one point in the first half, got his lap back, drove his way up through the field with all the restarts, and he wasn't in contention until 2 laps to go for the race win. So whether we're in the lead at the end of the first half, or if we're a lap down on the first half, you still have a chance. What do these drivers have to do here tonight in this feature? 250 laps to try and do what Stewart did and be in position with 2 laps to go.
Yeah, I think this is a marathon compared to all the rest of the races that we've run. So of course, you're going to want to make sure that you keep your car under you and stay out of trouble. Of course, there's going to be a lot of chaos here just with how many laps there was. This is 10 times longer than any of the heats that we saw a little bit ago. And then of course the mains nowhere near this length. 250 laps sounds like a lot, but it will fly by here at Anderson Speedway, but that does not mean that it won't be a long race for these guys, especially just compared to all the other stuff. I'll be interested to see if any of those drivers that were down in the C main that made it all the way up here, like Caleb Rose, are able to capitalize and put themselves in good position. But we saw in the shorter races that your starting position was very, very important to where you'd finish. This race a little bit less so, just because of how long it is. And if you get stuck on that outside, you've got more time to recover. So you don't want to be pushing the issue too early. Just take your time, get the spots that is given to you, and make sure that you still got a clean car under you at the end.
And, maybe, you don't need to have a clean car to run well. You just gotta make sure you have a perfect engine. Because this is a short track damage. If you have a okay car and a okay engine and just a little bit of damage, you will be okay. But, you gotta see what ends up happening. Because if you're a lap down and we get to the halfway point, you will get a lap back and you can be in the fight. Last year, we almost went caution-free to that lap 125 caution. So we gotta see if that ends up happening once again. But first, before we get this feature underway for the second annual Little 250, let's go trackside with AG himself to introduce the 22 drivers in the second annual Little 250 feature. After 8 races and 300 total laps, we still have 250 more to go. And we have nailed it down from 50 to 22 drivers. And let's have the man himself, AG himself, to introduce the field of 22 the 2026 Little 250 feature.
Starting 22nd in the number 38 DLF Dodge, Aaron Lukes. Starting 21st in the number 77 DHL Toyota, Marcus Glitch. Starting 20th in the number 12 Kroger Dodge, Will Parrish. Starting 19th in the number 72 Happy Joe's Pizza Ford, Charles Bowen. Starting 18th in the number 59 McClure Motor Oil Chevrolet, Caleb Rose. Starting 17th in the number 17 Culver Chevrolet, Logan Williams. Starting 16th in the number 23 Grattan Racing Technologies Ford, Stuart Grattan. Starting 15th in the number 86 Lowe's Ford, Ryan Durrani. Starting 14th in the number 9 Juicy Coacher Toyota, Nikki Martinez. Starting 13th in the number 70 ASDA Dodge, Duncan Ward. Starting 12th in the number 79 Pennsylvania The Great American Getaway Toyota, Benny Watson. Starting 11th in the number 33 Bosch Ford, Rogel Dorn. Starting 10th in the number 73 Stephen Andy's Pizza Plus Chevrolet, Kobe Light. Starting 9th in the 00 Sprecher Dodge, Andrew Williams. Starting 8th in the number 42 NTT Data Toyota, Rasha Mahendra. Starting 7th in the number 81 Mac Tools Toyota, Bruno Diacono. Starting 6th in the number 99 Intuit QuickBooks Toyota, Mauricia Vebalist. Starting 5th in the number 46 Uncrustable Chevrolet, Keegan Thompson. Starting 4th in the number 28 Castrol Ford, Max Davis. Starting 3rd in the number 14 Pilot Flying J Dodge, Leonard Kochmer. Starting 2nd in the number 3 GM Goodrich Chevrolet, Mateus Bento. And your pole sitter for the 2026 Little 250, driving the number 31 Mountain Dew Ford, Kasumi Takashi.
Alright, Alex has introduced all 22 drivers that have made it into the feature, whether it was from the heats, the sub-mains, or the provisional from and routes from winning the Constellation race last year. And now it's time for the picks. Caleb and Brennan. Anyone has a shot to win this race with how long it is, but who do you think will win the second ever Little 250 feature right here, right now at Anderson Speedway?
Well, we were talking about it just earlier on. We know that starting position is definitely a big advantage. However, it definitely might not be as present in the feature race here, with just like you mentioned, how long it's going to be and how much time there is for stuff to go down. However, I do think that starting up towards the front is going to give a little bit of an advantage, and I'm honestly really liking that 31 of Kasumi Takashi. Showed a lot of pace in their heat race. It's obvious that they're coming into this race this year with a chip on their shoulder after what happened to them last year. Got a lot of pace under the hood of that number 31 Mountain Dew Ford, and I'd definitely be watching out for Kasumi Takashi as this race goes along to nab redemption after what happened to them in this race last year.
Yeah, absolutely. Takashi's definitely going to be driving angry this race, but you know someone who always drives angry is that 99 car, Mauricia Vebalst, one of the more aggressive drivers in the field, starting up in P6 on the outside. In a shorter race, I definitely wouldn't be picking her, but there's plenty of time for her to get down to the inside and start making up some spots. I think she's going to win the Little 250.
I like those pits from you two, and we gotta see what ends up happening. Kasumi obviously has a chip on her shoulder, and we gotta see what Vebalst can do. Thank you for everyone that signed up for this year. Thank you to everyone that painted these paint schemes. Thank you to everyone that has tuned in all night long. This was a huge success last year, and I'm sure this was once again this year. A new tradition has begun, and for the second time, it is time to go green for the feature. Takashi and Bento lead us to the green, and we are racing for the Little 250 presented by Gainbridge feature for 2026.
Boogity boogity.
Boogie boogie indeed. A green start up front, and you gotta be very careful here early on. This is a long race, a lot longer than the rest of the races here tonight, 250 laps. They're only gonna be about an hour. So basically a regular Waller Cup Series race, for example. So you got time, but how much time do you want to spend back behind him? That's all the way 3 wide in the back. Watson almost contact. Oh
man!
Boy!
Oh, into the wall!
And Marcus Glick
Caution.
with a simple spin. But that's going to be our first caution in the feature on lap number 3.
Boy, that didn't take long.
That's
But the
9.
patience would be a little bit more prominent than this.
You know, there's been a lot of patience tonight. We've only had 2 cautions up to this point, and that was definitely not patient from these drivers. But luckily, it was only a simple spin from Marcus Glitch, and we should be a-okay for the most part. But I was about to say, what a jump that Takashi had, and Takashi's going to be one to beat here tonight if anyone wants to win this race. Almost won this race last year, and great avoidance from a handful of drivers back there. You know, that could have been a lot worse, but 3 wide is not working. Maybe if a single file restart we can calm down. We almost went halfway through without having a caution here last year. Let's go ahead and see what happened to bring out the first caution of the night with Marcus Glitch and the number 77.
Well, early on in the going, already seeing quite a lot of aggression as just about 3 wide there. Unfortunately, not quite going to work out. Watson and Marcus Glitch get into it, both off of turn 2 and into turn number 3 as Glitch gets sent up into the outside wall and kind of locked it down a little bit there, which was probably what was enough to trigger the yellow flag. So definitely not the start of the race that especially those two were looking for. So really tough break there for Marcus Glitch, but I still got a long way left to go in this race. Still anything can happen. It'll be interesting to see what does end up happening as this race goes along. But Sumi Takashi, your pole sitter, led them back around. So have to see what Takashi might have in store on the wheel at number 31 as this race does end up going along.
We'll see what Takashi has. A quick yellow here. Let's go ahead and get back to the restart here at Anderson Speedway. Welcome back to Anderson Speedway, and we have a development. A couple of cars are pitting it here on the restart, and I don't know why. Will Pish, I believe, and Febbles are pitting for stop and goes. I don't know if they got penalized for something, but we are going to go ahead and go back green as the 42's also down on pit lane. Back green, you know, lap number 10 up the feature. One of the Yakimos side by side with Keegan Thompson. And I don't know what has happened with those 3 cars on pit lane here early on under caution for stop and goes. But if they sit 1 lap down, they look at the lap back and they gotta be careful for this with the 42. Watch them Mahindra.
Rogodorn's probably not the happiest about that, but still early on in the race. Like I said, you gotta keep your head on straight as this race goes along. But so far, so good, at least for now here on this restart. A fortunate break for all those cars that did have to come down the pit lane there. I don't really know what it was for. It might have been a penalty of some kind, but like you said, if they can stay 1 lap down, they will be able to get their laps back once we do have that halfway caution. But still, as for the guys still in the lead lap, we still got a lot of battles going on here on the racetrack as Duncan Ward flies past Keegan Thompson there for the 4th position. Benny Watson on the move in the 79 as well, as he's now cracked his way inside the top 10. There's a lot of battling going on here early on in the race, and it's going to probably be like this as this race does go along, and I'm sure we'll definitely see a lot of action up here towards the front as well once they catch up to the back of the field. That's where it really gets spicy once this leader catches up to lap traffic, and at the rate that Kasumi Takashi's riding around this track right now, probably not too far out, so that would be something to watch out for. But so far so good here since the restart. Still got a lot of battles going on here throughout the track though.
Here comes Keegan Thompson looking underneath Duncan Ward. That's for the 4th position. Ward, one of the more aggressive drivers in the field, but Keegan Thompson looks like he's going to try and get past here. Right behind them, the lap down car of Rashi Mahendra. And like you said, if Rashi can stay 1 lap down by the time we hit the halfway point, then they'll end up getting back on the lead lap. Further back in the pack, you got Max Davis and Mateus Bento, I believe, battling for, or no, that's Benny Watson that he's battling with for 9th. He got past Bento the previous lap. And Aaron Lukes, who started shotgun on the field, is not too far behind them either. Knocking on the door of the top 10, but he goes wide in the corner, and that's going to allow the 72 car of Charles Bowen to get underneath. Sideways again for the 38.
And
a lot of action going on in the middle of the pack.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of action in the middle of the pack. Like, I don't know what happened to Rashi Mahendra, but if you're only they are only one lap down here, and can easily get back on the lead lap. Looks like that 42 is fast, and here we go. This is not going to take long, especially with that single file restart. Takashi all the way to the back end of the field. Shout out to Bruno Diacomo, doing a great job in that number 81, keeping up with Takashi, only a 1 second lead, and this is where things will get interesting here at Anderson Speedway. We've seen it all night long with the B, the C, and the D mains, that lap traffic will make things interesting, and these guys are also, you know, you can't get the wave line if you get a lap down, but you don't really want to go a lap down, because you will still be in the back of the field. It's kind of pointless. You just want to try and fight, but for these guys, they still have 100 laps to stay on the lead lap. You got Febbles, who was one of the drivers that pitted on the caution for some reason. Caleb Lloyd in the back of the 59 machine. Marcus Galich for Page, Nicky Martinez, all in the back here, Marjawani as well. But this is going to be interesting for Takashi, because no stranger in this position from last year, but fairly early on here in this one. And just like that, Caleb, Bruno Diacomo is closing in already.
Takashi went wide there through 1 and 2 especially, and continuing to do so as well. Struggling a little bit here with this lap traffic, which might just be it myself, as here comes the 81. Looking to the inside through 3 and 4. Like I said, once we caught the back of the field, that's when things would get spicy up here at the front. Giacomo trying to clear off a turn number 2 and will. New leader here on the little 250. It's now the 81 of Bruno Giacomo as he powers to the front. Have to see how long he can hold it, though. A little bit wide through 1 and 2. Kasumi Takashi trying to rip the low line once again. Definitely shaping up to be an exciting battle for the lead as the lap cars continue to go at it in front of them as dive down to the inside of 99 of Mauricio Vebelston. This could definitely throw a wrench in the lead battle as well. The lap cars going side by side as way up the track goes Bruno. Here we go again.
He's taking the Larson line up here at Anderson, but Takashi was not able to get underneath. Takashi really the first time that she's been challenged, and we are under yellow.
And that's
hard into the wall.
Done.
73
damage.
Oh,
look
watch
out.
Rasha into the back of Duncan Ward.
That looked like a huge hit for Kobe Light in the number 73, and unfortunately, our first car to be out is probably going to be the 73. I think a handful of cars might have a little bit of damage with how awkward that wreck was in turn number 1. But, that's how quickly things can change, and unfortunately for Kobe Light in the number 73, he's probably going to be done. Andrew Williams
is out.
Oh, Andrew Williams.
Well,
he must have been involved in that too.
And last year, we started the race fairly calm, and then it got chaotic at the end. Are we going to flip it this year? We just might, but Bruno Diacomo looking fairly strong as number 81. Let's go ahead and see the lap, and then turn number 1 for the second caution of the night. Well, Bento with the intimidated paint scheme intimidated Kobe Light, and this is a big hit for Anderson Speedway Stingers. Hauling into the inside wall, lifts the front end off the ground a little bit, and then up the racetrack, and unfortunately for Andrew Williams, gonna have nowhere to go. Hard hit into the back end of Kobe Light, and gets reunited by Matt Davis. So multi-car incident here early on, and the track kind of gets blocked here, maybe a little bit of a stack up, but a big hit for Kobe Light, and that's unfortunate. Still a 10th here tonight, and he's gonna end fairly early on in the feature.
Coming off of turn number 4, Kobe Light just gets daled there, and he hits the inside wall, and nowhere to go for Andrew Williams and Max Davis, who get piled into that, and that is going to be day done for Kobe Light. Only 34 laps into this thing. Very unfortunate for him. You hate to see the race end that early for any of these guys, but that's just what happens sometimes. You get that chaos. You get all these cars in such a small space, and you get stuff like that. So tough break for the 73.
Tough break indeed, and that was kind of one of the sleepers I saw in the heat races. Kobe Light was strong in a tough break. Early on is Diacomo out front, and we gotta see, will it be a Diacomo versus Takashi type of night? Let's find out with another early restart here in the feature. Alright, 2 cautions here in the feature, and things are getting chaotic, and unfortunately from that, what seemed to be a huge hit in turn number 1, 2 cars are out, Kobe Light and Andrew Williams. Only 20 cars are left already, and the great restart from Kasumi Takashi, and we gotta see what Takashi can do. And how about the 42 of Washimindra? You know, if she can, pass the leader, she could not even have to get waved around here
Side
at the
by side
halfway
for the
caution.
lead.
Ooh, here comes Takashi in the number 31, back to the inside of Bruno Diacomo. Talking about Rasha Mahindra, a great launch for that number 42. Gonna try and get their lap back here on merit instead of waiting until the halfway break, but only has a big challenge getting by that 81 and 31, who have definitely proven to be the strongest cars, it seems like, here so far tonight, but still got a long time left to go in this race, and we could see some comers and goers, and Raul 33 is definitely looking strong right now as he makes his way up into third, as Mahindra looking down the inside of Diacomo, not for position, but looking to get up into, or at least past the second place car, and looking to try and chase down that 31 and get back on the lead lap, and this could allow Rogaldorn to close in here for the second position. Also got the 14 there, Leonard Kochmer, Max Davis into the top 5 as well. Duncan Ward still up here, big battle back here. Duncan Ward, Benny Watson looking to try and get past him for the 6th position. Just got by Keegan Thompson. Also got the 9, Nicky Martinez up here as well. A great debut run for that number 9 machine. Now here inside the top 10, looking to get past your reigning Wawa Cup Series champion here, I believe, for the 7th position. So a really good run going here so far for that number 9 machine.
Yeah, absolutely. And last time we checked in on her, she was in the back of the pack, so she's been hustling since that restart. Max Davis makes another pass. He's also been hustling. He was just on the edge of the top 10 when that restart happened. And the 14 of Leonard Kochmer starting to slip back. Benny Watson following that 28 of Max Davis. And Kochmer's going to slip back to 6th as Watson now breaks the top 5. But Davis has been on a roll since this restart began. But once again, Kasumi Takashi pulling away out in the lead. Almost a 2-second lead for Takashi, and I think it's pretty safe to say this 31 car is going to be the one to beat.
Absolutely. Takashi, massive chip on her shoulders, and Matthew Hubert, the owner of this development driver that he has, and was kind of crazy, and didn't have much really say with that finish last year. Could have been a win, and Takashi definitely not saying no this year. Dominated the heat, fastest time in the heat, got the pole, and has not looked bad ever since then. Rasha Mahindra, though, I think if she can, or if they can get the left bat, either the hard way or the easy way, maybe this 42 could be a strong contender for the 31. But once again, already, this just is how this track is. It does not take long. 15-20 laps for these guys to catch up to lap traffic. It's going to take a little bit longer with 20 cars instead of 22. But Marcus Glitch, Caleb Rose, Logan Williams, and the Batline Dwight, Stuart Glenn, Bento, and Luce and Febbles all on the tail end of the lead lap here. But I cannot get over how fast this 31 is. Whether it be in a heat race, in a feature, whether it has damage from the stack up or not, this car is fast, Caleb.
Definitely, like we were talking about in both the heats and the pre-race, this is driving angry if I think I've ever seen it. This 31 has been lights out fast just about all night long, whether the heats or here in the features so far. That car looks to be as set up about as perfectly as perfect could potentially get, but still, long race ahead of them, and they still got some challenges to overcome as this race does end up shaking out. What those challenges will be is still yet to be withheld, so we'll have to see how the rest of the race ends up shaking out for this 31, but another challenge is going to be coming up here as Takashi closes back in here to the back of the field, and this could be a good opportunity here for Rasha Mahindra to potentially close in and potentially get their lap back. Same for the 33 of Rogaldorn, except he's in a different position, looking to try and get to this 31 and maybe make a pass for the lead, but Rogaldorn especially has quite a gap to make up. He's now over 2 seconds behind the number 31, so Takashi's going to have to get hold up a lot here if Rogaldorn wants to have a chance to get up there.
Yeah, absolutely. Caleb, I think you're going to end up being one of the challenges that Takashi's going to have to deal with. As we've seen, the one weakness of this 31 car is catching up to the back of the field once she's out of clean air and all of a sudden ends up behind some slower traffic. She has struggled, and she actually lost the lead earlier, if you remember. Based off of that, lap car, or the tail end of the lead lap cars are side by side in front. It's Caleb Rose and Stuart Grattan. Grattan's struggling here. He was a threat to win this race last year, ended up getting in that incident with Takashi and paving the way for Travis Crampton to win. And now Takashi's going to try and lap the 23.
Oh.
Maybe still a little bit of bad blood between these two, as she's going to put Stewart a lap down here. But that doesn't mean Stewart's out of it, of course. Another thing that happened last year is that Stewart did go a lap down, managed to get back on the lead lap, but you gotta wonder, maybe Takashi was remembering last year when when she closed in on that 23 car.
Absolutely, and you brought up a great point, Glenn. Stewart was a lap down, fought his way on so many late race restarts, and was in contention to win. So even though, you know, Stewart's gonna be lapped down again, just like last year here early on, it's not over, not by a long shot. And that's the unique thing about this event, you know. We try and have everyone have a second chance with this being a really long race, and that's what that halfway caution comes into play. But look at Takashi and look at the front of the field. Really spread out with Volker Dorn, Bruno Giacomo, Matt Davis, Benny Watson, Keegan Thompson. Really spread out between the field right now. And a very calm start. This is kind of what we saw eventually in last year's race, where these guys eventually were calm, but we're not going to be calm for second, as Giacomo to the inside of Overdoing for the second place spot. Maybe a little bit of contact there, and Giacomo up to second now once again. And this is what we saw last year. A very calm first half after, until a late race caution in the midway point. But this time, we are finally on a nice one here, and Volker Dorn might be under fire for Matt Davis here soon.
33 definitely looks like it's falling off quite a bit, as through goes the 81 of Giacomo, and now closing in here is the 28 of Max Davis. As for Giacomo, it definitely looks like that car kind of comes alive as this run goes along. But, closing in here on the 31 of Takashi, who's really struggling here in lap traffic as Giacomo shoots to the inside of Stuart Grattan. And now all over the back bumper, that 31 is the 42 of Rasha Mahindra, looking to try and get their lap back here the hard way, but could be a curveball incoming here from the 81 of Bruno Giacomo, who's looking to try and take the lead as both go a little bit wide here through 3 and 4. That 81 is really coming alive here as this run ends up going along, and we'll have to see if he does have anything here for the 31 of Kasumi Takashi before we do get to that halfway caution, but needs to be careful not to slip up the track and good on the outside of Grattan. That could potentially open up the door for the 28 of Max Davis, who's made his way up to third. But here we go up front. Mahindra to the inside of Takashi. After Takashi slipped up a little bit there through the corner, through goes Mahindra for, I guess not for the lead, but they're going to get their lap back. And here comes the 81 of Giacomo. Takashi slips up the track again, almost gets into the back of the 42.
And here we go again. Bruno Giacomo trying to take advantage. He's going to get turned into the pit wall. Oh my goodness.
Not again.
And it's heartbreak again for Kasumi Takashi.
Turn 2 strikes again, almost the same spot. Her car was falling off like crazy there, guys. Like, it happened the first couple ones. Once she got into lap traffic, her car fell apart. And she got sideways off of turn 2. That wasn't even Giacomo's fault. Might have been a little bit of bump in 1, but there was space. And Takashi got sideways, and that's going to be night over before we even get to the halfway point for Kasumi Takashi.
Man, thank goodness it's just a video game. That's all I'm going to say.
Whew. And unlike last year, we're having a chaotic first half, and now this is going to open up everything, because we saw how competitive guys like Bruno Giacomo, Matt Davis, Volker Dorn, Keegan Thompson, Benny Watson were. And this is going to change everything. Let's go and see what...
who really liked seeing that yellow was Rasha Mahindra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was perfect for Rasha. And now, back on the field, back on the lead lap, and just focus on getting up to the front. Well then, chaotic start, but we're already 84 laps in. Let's go ahead and see what happened for the third caution of the night in the feature. Turn 2 strikes again for Kasumi Takashi, and this time this is all by herself. Kasumi may be a little bit ill-washy from behind from Diacomo, but got sideways off the corner, tried keeping out of the outside wall, and Diacomo was right there in the middle of the inside, and this is a good thing it's a video game, because gets skewered entering the pit lane, and that's not the first time we've seen that here tonight, and that is the trouble spot here at Anderson Speedway, turn 2, turn 4, and one of the fastest cars last year, one of the fastest cars this year, is in the garage before even the halfway point, in the little 250 feature tough plate for Kasumi Takashi.
Well, here you see it. Once again, Takashi just fishtails off of turn 2, comes across the front end of the 81, and a vicious lick into the end of the pit wall for the 31 of Kasumi Takashi, and that's going to end her race early. Looked like the dominant car there early, but just lost it off of turn number 2, and for the second year in a row, it's going to be heartbreak for Kasumi Takashi, crashing while racing for the lead here at the Anderson Speedway.
Such a tough way for Kasumi Takashi, and for her, just gotta hope that, maybe third time will be the charm next year for Kasumi Takashi, but Bruno Giacomo looked strong early on. Let's go and get back to the restart late in the first half of the little 250 feature. We cannot believe what we just saw. For the second year in a row, Takashi wets off of turn number 2. Even before we get to the halfway caution, we are getting close, about 40 laps away from the halfway caution right now. Only one car, one lap down in that swift run. Right here, Bruno Giacomo out front in the number 81, Matt Davis in second. And then here comes Benny Watson, gonna make it 3 wide.
3 wide already.
That's not gonna work.
Boy!
And into the wall. Watch out, the rest of the field.
No caution.
Looks like they're
Nope,
gonna
there
get
it
there.
is.
There's the caution.
And 3 wide does not look at Anderson Speedway. We've seen that all night here tonight. And what a chaotic night. It's been calm. We only have 1 caution in the B main and 1 caution in the C main, but we have 4 in 88 laps, and 3 wide does not work, and that's the aggressive nature of these restarts. And for Keegan Thompson, not too much damage, I think, but going to be at the back of the field. And for Benny Watson, this is the one race you do all year, and you do that. But, oh boy, let's go and see what happened for the 4th caution tonight in the feature, right after another here at Anderson Speedway. We've seen this before on these restarts are very chaotic here at Anderson Speedway, and Benny Watson, who already caused 1 caution tonight, made 3 wide on Dorn and Thompson, and Benny Watson being very aggressive here, and just takes out the Uncrustables number 46. I guess he didn't want them, passed them to local Dorn, and Dorn ends up sending Thompson sideways. And credit to the 9, the 12, the 30, and all these guys behind him for not stacking in. And this eventually does cause a caution, rightfully so. But a tough play for Keegan Thompson. We'll see how much damage he does end up happening for the 46 machine here for our 3rd or 4th caution of the night.
Caution number 4 happens right after caution number 3, and 3 wide just doesn't work here. Benny Watson pushes the issue and then pushes the 46 into the wall, collecting the 33. Thankfully, nobody else really getting involved. 12 gives a little love tap to the back of the 46 there, but not really any damage as a result. But tough break there for Keegan Thompson. Had nothing to do with it, was just racing side by side, and the 79 stuck at 3 wide and getting a little too aggressive there in the first half of the race. But, sometimes you just see that, especially as the race starts getting later into it. Just stretched it a little too thin there for the 79.
A little bit too early, almost halfway, but probably a little bit too early for Benny Watson to do that. Tough play for Keegan Thompson, who looked strong early on. Let's go ahead and get back to the restart with Giacomo out front. Well then, cautions, 3 cautions, and we are going to try this again on lap number 93. Chaos is unfolding here at Anderson Speedway, and it's still Bruno Giacomo as the race leader. Grant in second on track, first car 1 lap down, and we're back on lap number 93.
Boy, Benny Watson.
Jump, here comes Watson.
You mentioned that this is the only race he gets all day, and maybe that's why he's being very aggressive, because he knows this is his one shot at victory. And you see him once again making big moves here on the restart. Mauricia Webelst, who ended up pitting under that first caution, has made her way back into the top 10. And that's just the nature of this racetrack. You could definitely come back from setbacks like that. Duncan Ward almost into the wall there, and they're going to be side by side for fourth as Webelst flies up through the field. Max Davis looking underneath Stuart Gratton there to try and get the lap car out of the way.
A bit of contact there in the front stretch between Charles Bowman and Nicky Martinez, as I believe 2 rookies to this event going at it here for the 6th position. Martinez going to take that spot away. Mateus Bento in the Dale Earnhardt number 3 making his way here inside of the top 10, passing the 33 of Rogan Dorn. Bowen a bit wide there, do 1 and 2. That could also open up the door here for the 3 car as well. We're trying to make some moves here in the number 59. Front still for sale, by the way, just to get it out there. But still a lot of shuffling going on in this race as it does go along. You see Logan Williams in the 17 trying to make his way here through the field, looking to maybe try and crack the top 10 here. And Rashid Mahinder in that 42, like we were talking about, that caution probably could not have come out at a better time for them. Now back on the lead lap and trying to make some progress here through the field is at number 42 as they try to get by this 38 of Aaron Lukes. But now with Kasumi Takashi out of the race, it's pretty much completely flipped this on his head, as now you got Giacomo out in the race lead, but being chased down right now by the number 79 of Benny Watson. Max Davis also up in 3rd. So far from over is this race, but we've definitely already had a lot of curveballs in this feature here tonight.
And you know, this is only 250 laps, it's only about an hour race, but for these lane model guys, especially, you know, compared to tonight, this is a marathon, this is a endurance event, this is all about nutrition sometimes, and that's what it's been so far. But, you know, Ben Watson, he's been aggressive here tonight, for sure, but Bruno Giacomo is pulling away. Almost like what we saw with Kasumi Takashi once that 31 got out to the lead, and Bruno Giacomo might be in position to be the race winner here, but we're not even halfway through. Speaking of halfway, we're 20 laps away from the halfway caution. Catching up to the back end of the field right now, it would only be Stuart Grant gained the wave around as being the 1 car 1 lap down. Webelst to the inside, Max Davis for 3rd.
Boy, I always get nervous when they come off a turn 2. We know the kind of chaos that can happen. We saw it earlier in this race, but Webelst gets by him clean and will move up into 3rd. And we can't forget that Giacomo was very fast in the first couple of runs too, probably the 2nd fastest car on the track. And then once Takashi got into traffic, you know, he kind of took advantage of it to get the lead both times, both in 2 different ways, but still, regardless, did it. And he's got a 1.7 second lead, but we know that lead isn't going to last too long because that halfway yellow is looming large in about 15 laps. And also got the 46 of Keegan Thompson, as well as the other cars in the back of the field. Into the wall.
That's
Giacomo into the wall there. Yeah, absolutely. Thompson in the back of the field, maybe being affected by that accident that he got into earlier. I think that was him that got spun around in turns 3 and 4. But yeah, we're gonna get some lap traffic here. Maybe we end up getting a pass for the lead before the halfway yellow, but that 79 is hustling. 1.2 seconds now. He gained about half a second. I think we might get a battle before this halfway break happens.
Definitely might, as they're side by side here ahead of this number 81. Just a couple more laps, but still far from over. Could get a battle here for the lead before the first half of this first half. It has been seen a lot of action on the racetrack, a lot of passing, and a lot of drama. Enough drama for a whole 250 lap race, if I do say so myself. But Still got a long ways left to go in this race. Still a lot more surprises in store, and might still have one more here before we do get to the end of the first half, as Watson continues to try and close into that 81. But Giacomo doing a really solid job here at cutting his way here through the lap traffic. Got by the 86 and now getting by the 46 very cleanly. Setting his sights up there on the 38 of Aaron Lukes as he pulls a bit of a slide job there on the 46 of Keegan Thompson. But up a little, racetrack just a little. Oh no!
Oh boy!
Oh, here we go.
These guys
This
know.
could be bad for the 81 if the 86 gets down low. Abadurani will go wide. Ooh, they're both going a bit wide.
Boy, oh boy, and this has been very chaotic, and like you said, we're not even halfway through. We're almost halfway through here in this one. We're going to go ahead and get this ready, since it's literally going to be about a minute until we need to pull out the yellow. But, well, the first half so far, and this is the type of action that we have seen all night long, especially in the B and C main in particular. The lap traffic playing a factor. Watson trying to take the race lead before the halfway caution.
It's on now.
Here in 4 laps time. Here comes Pebbles that's blowing the 99. Top 4 are under a blanket now.
Yeah, if there's only a few laps left for Benny Watson or Mauricio Pebbles to take advantage here, I think if those two battle for second, that could give Giacomo the breathing room that he needs. But Watson was able to pull ahead this time. He's going to have 2 laps to get by him before the halfway yellow. But he goes up the racetrack too. These cars are sliding all over the place. I think if Giacomo could just hold his line, he'll be able to have the lead of the race at halfway. And it looks like only one car is going to end up getting waived. So, and that would be the 23. Vebelst is going to steal second here as they come to the midway caution.
Crucial there for Pebbles possibly getting past Watson, and I don't know, maybe it's something to do with the dirty air for some reason here tonight, but last year it's a lot easier for the leaders to pass towards the back part of the field. Maybe it's just how competitive it is, but it is hard to get past these cars at the tail end of the field, and these cars are slipping up like crazy. I was going to say, said only one car one lap down, and that is Stuart Glenn. We'll just go ahead and do this live. I don't really care. Make fun of me for not typing. I don't care, but only one car one lap down, and that is Stuart Glenn in the number 23. Last year there's a bunch of cars that were one lap down. This time it is only Stuart Glenn, and we gotta see what Stuart can do. Because he was one lap down last year, and he came back to almost win the race. But halfway thoughts, guys. Very chaotic race. 19 cars left, and Bruno Giacomo looks strong.
Without a doubt, it's been quite the chaotic first half of the race, but still been very, very entertaining. Like I said, we've seen a lot of great racing so far here throughout the night, and a lot of drama so far already to kind of build into the second half of this race. I'm definitely excited to see how it ends up playing out, but yeah, the 81 Bruno Giacomo definitely looking like the class of the field now that the 31 has retired. Let's see what they can do here in the second half.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we saw a big difference in cars between Takashi and Giacomo. Takashi definitely had more raw pace, but when it came to getting past the lap cars, she struggled. That's what ended up doing her in. Giacomo was a little bit better at it that last run as we come to the restart on lap 130.
And back green halfway through, and with 120 laps to go. Now, if you go a lap down, it's not gonna matter. So you gotta be careful about that, and these guys gotta be careful about this on the restart, because we only have 120 laps to go. Matt Davis on the move in this number 28 machine. These restarts are chaotic, and Davis is on the move in the number 28. And here comes Nicky Martinez, one of the new drivers in this event, running fantastic here tonight. Got Little Parrish up here on the move, and so many new faces up here. And we could have a new driver win, but you got Duncan Woods sliding it into Benny Watson a little bit off turn 4. That was a little bit close.
Hold on to it, Duncan.
That is a Duncan Ward move there if I've ever seen it, as he muscles his way to the inside of Benny Watson. Going to try and take 4th away here. That was a great restart there from the 28 of Max Davis, getting by both the 79 and the 99. He's now up into second, looking to chase down that 81. Mateus Bento on the move in the number 3, getting past the number 9 of Nicky Martinez. Rogel Dorn looking to try and make his way back up here through the field, but he goes real wide through 1 and 2. You got Will Parrish up here as well. But up the front of the field, it's still Bruno Giacomo now with almost a second lead to the 28 of Max Davis. Right there with Charles Bowen here right outside of the top 10. I think we still got a fast car. We have to see if we can make our way up there where everything is said and done. But a lot of passing while everybody is still bunched up quite together as Mateus Pinto gets by the 79 of Watson for the 5th position. That got a bit closer off of turn 2 between Martinez and Rogel Dorn. Still a lot more left to go here in this race. Still a lot more things to happen just like that.
Aaron Lukes.
Oh, no caution somehow.
And Will Parrish.
Will Parrish and Aaron Lukes, and that's going to be one of our leaders.
Oh,
and the
somehow
break,
we're still green.
I don't know how. Sometimes the officials are a little bit lenient here at Anderson for some reason. But that's going to allow everyone to close back up here a little bit. Tough play for Aaron Lukes. He didn't have a good car tonight. Got on the British Divisional, and he's not a good car throughout the rest of the race. Will Parrish was also involved, and he's on pit lane now. But now this is going to be interesting. Matt Davis closing in. And you got Fellows, Duncanwood. Bento could have a shot here. There's so many new drivers. Bento, Davis, Duncanwood.
Oh, into the wall.
Watson's way wide.
That's not going to work. Rogel Dorn's going to pass him.
He's got a push in it here tonight.
Yeah, they're sliding all over the place, getting into the wall. Oh boy, Will Parrish is back on the track, and he's boxed in. Max Davis as Aaron Lukes gets sideways right next to Max Davis. The last thing you want to do as a lap car is wreck someone on the lead lap.
And
the caution is out.
We got a wreck between, I believe, Davis, Bowen maybe. And that's going to reset everything here.
Now the caution comes out.
I don't know. I don't know. This is an interesting racetrack sometimes, but we can believe that was a lot going on in a short amount of time there.
Really chaotic there since the restart. I thought that Parrish and Aaron Lukes should have probably brought out a caution, but we did end up getting one anyway. And a really tough break there for the 72 of Charles Bowen, who was running inside the top 10 at the time of caution, I believe. So really tough break there for him, but already kicking off the second half with a bang. So hopefully we can maybe see another green flag run like we kind of saw in the first half. But right now, as this race does start to kind of get into the second half and time starts to tick by, we know the patience is going to start running thin. The aggression is just going to keep ramping up. So I have to see how it does all end up shaking out, but it's definitely going to be very, very interesting, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Well then, another caution on lost count here tonight. A different type of race from what we saw last year, but let's go ahead and see this caution here at the Anderson Speedway with almost 100 laps to go in the little 250. 5th caution of the night, and we got some short track tempers here. We got Charles Bowen and Leonard Kochman, and try doing a slide job that we've seen here before this year and last year, and it didn't work out. A little bit of contact, and I think Leonard Kochman was not appreciative of that. And off the corner, they could have made it, but Leonard Kochman just turned them. And to turn number 1 just after the start finish line, not too bad of a hit for the 72. One of Ronald Cables and Nicky Martinez. And then nowhere to go for local wins. He's going to go on the outside in the 17. And he's going to slide on him with a little tap. But not too bad for the 17. But tough wait for Charles Bowen. Tried doing a slide job and got paid the price for it in turn number 1.
You're going to see Charles Bowen and Leonard Kochmer right here. Bowen runs Kochmer up the track. Kochmer gets into the quarter panel, and around goes the 72 into turn number 1, and then Logan Williams running high on the track, backs it into the wall after getting into the 72. Guess he decided he wanted to be in the crash too, so unfortunate break for the 72 and the 17. Just a bit of a squeeze off of turn 4, and it didn't work out for the 72 especially.
Luckily, not too much damage for all 3 of them, Kochmer, Logan Williams, or Charles Bowen. Things are heating up here in the second half of the little 250 feature. Let's go ahead and get back to the restart here at Anderson Speedway. Welcome back, and this is gonna be interesting on the restart with Will Parrish being 4 laps down and Anders being 1 lap down. Davis is in second, Febles in third, Bento and with the top 10, with the top 5, and we only have 100 laps to go. This race will go very fast if this stays green.
What a restart!
And that 81 is crazy. Kind of like the 31. Bruno Giacomo is fast, but I think Davis is fast too. That's key. Gonna get past Will Parrish very easily, and now Davis trying to close in on Bruno Giacomo.
I think part of that was because the 12 was a bit off the pace after sustaining damage in that accident, as that 12 is just not up to speed compared to the leaders. So he held up people for about a lap, but then Davis and now the 3 car is going to get past him. So he's probably going to sink towards the back of the field. You got the 79 of Benny Watson and the 99 of Vebels. Not a good restart for Vebels, as she is going to plunge some spots here. Aaron Lukes down to the inside of the 12 car, the 2 lap down cars. Lukes wants to get back on the lead lap. Parrish really, when you're 4 laps down, you don't really have that much of a shot at it, especially after the halfway caution. Benny Watson all over the back bumper of Duncan Ward. These two have been racing each other for a good chunk of the night, and they've both been very aggressive tonight. So if that ends poorly, I wouldn't be surprised. And Bowen is making some aggressive moves as well, trying to rebound from being involved in that caution. It's kind of crazy that Bowen's actually racing Vebels to restart at 3rd on that restart. And that's just what getting stuck on the outside does to you.
Vebels has been really dropping spots ever since that restart. Just kind of been trapped on that outside lane, but does look like they might have an opportunity to get down here. There is some more cars coming in behind. You got Logan Williams back there, as well as I believe that's the 14 of Kochmer, who just went really wide there through turn 4. Might have even caught the outside wall. Stuart Grattan was going to try and make up some spots as well, but still up at the front of the field, it's all Bruno Giacomo. That 81 is absolutely on rails right now. He's already looking to catch up to the back of the field, and we have seen that 81 perform a lot better in lap traffic than we saw at Takashi, so we'll have to see if he can continue that, but we'll just have to see. Max Davis there in second place, about 2 seconds back now behind the 81. Mateus Bento has had a good restart. He's up into 3rd now in that number 3, looking to try and chase down that number 28 for 2nd. You got Duncan Ward there in 4th. A good night overall for that Mazda number 70. Rogel Dorn's now back inside the top 5. We saw that 33 look competitive early on, but kind of just fell off as the race went along, but looks like he still might have some life in that number 3 machine. Benny Watson slips back a little bit. He's now back to 6th. Shout out to Charles Bowen. Just got involved in that lax caution. Went from inside the top 10. Pretty much had a one-way ticket to the back of the field. And is now back inside the top 10 as Will Parrish and Stuart Grattan getting into it back here. Ooh, there's action pretty much about everywhere you look here around the Anderson Speedway. It's absolutely not been dry of action here tonight.
Whoa.
Oh
boy.
Keegan make contact on the straightaway. This is definitely a lot more chaos than last year, and I will just say, we ran 100 last year, and we are running 100 again all night long here tonight. So these guys, they know how crazy this race is, and they know how prestigious it is, and you gotta be in position at the end of this one, because anything can happen under 5 laps to go if last year was any indication. Bruno Giacomo, so he has the 2nd best car here tonight, maybe the best, because he's able to get through lap traffic better than what Kochmer was able to. And he's going to put Kochmer a lap down, who was up front at one point. Keegan Thompson and Marcus Glitch were going at it. One in front of our race leader.
A lot of close calls here in this run. I think Giacomo's got the best car that's still on the track pretty clearly, but you gotta watch out for stuff like that. That could have been a crash. That could have gotten Giacomo involved in it. So, you know, especially when you're the leader going through these slower cars, you gotta watch out for stuff like that. They can get into each other, and, you know, the leader's gotta do a little bit of passing too. That's what they say. So, he's got 2 lap cars right now in between himself and Max Davis. Rashia Mahendra and Keegan Thompson battling in front of him, and then the lap cars behind Kochmer and Glitch are side by side. Glitch was involved in the first yellow of the race and really hasn't done a whole lot since. Has been a bit off the pace since then as the 81 gets put to the outside by Koshmer. This could be an opportunity for Davis if he can get up there.
Been an opportunity indeed as Giacomo still going at it with the number 14. Kochmer will clear. We'll see if the 81 can slot back in. No, he can. He goes wide through 3 and 4. Here comes Marcus Glitch, and here comes Max Davis in the number 28. He's going to have a really good shot here. And they're going to, I thought they might stay side by side, but I think Giacomo might have checked up a little bit there. Maybe a smart move if he can get back down to the inside, which it looks like he might have the opportunity here, but he goes wide again. And here comes Davis to the inside. He's got to run. He's got to the quarter panel. And don't look now, Mateus Bento's also up here in the 3 machine. So we're having a 3-horse race here for the lead as Davis is clear.
Duncan Ward is flying too.
Duncan Ward is also looking to make his way up here. Oh, this battle for the lead is getting crazy here in the latter half of this feature races. Max Davis just barely squeezes to the inside of Marcus Glitch. And wide again is Giacomo. Here comes the 3, Mateus Bento. That 81 looks like it might be falling off a little bit.
This is kind of like last year.
There he goes again.
As the race went on,
front.
oh boy, as the race went on, we would start to see who had the best car late. And it might be Davis, Bento, Duncan Ward. Last year it was Takashi, Grattan, and Crampton. And this is far from over, but we'll only have 70 laps to go. It is flying on by here at the Anderson Speedway. Glitch back on the side. He knows he needs to get back on the lead lap in case we get a caution. And the way that's been, we could. But here comes Bento. He started second here tonight. And he is flying this number 3 machine. One of my favorite paint schemes on the 72. But he's going to go wide. Right in front of Mahendra. And Mahendra's going to go down pit lane.
In the pits.
And that's not going to be a caution. Davis is in the outside wall.
Davis got the wall, and here comes the 3.
Oh my goodness.
Mateus didn't mean to wreck them, probably just meant to rattle their cage, but Mateus to the lead after that whole calamity. Bruno Giacomo still in 3rd, looking to try and hang on with this top 2, but my goodness, what a crazy turn of events that was. Really tough break there for Rosh Mahendra. Kind of just got caught up in the wrong place at the wrong time. But still far from over is this race for all these guys up here. As now Bento leading the way here in this race. Max Davis down to 2nd. Bruno Giacomo looking to try and scrap for those positions back. My goodness, like I said earlier on, this race has definitely not been drive action. It's not been drive drama either, for sure. Man, what a race it has been here tonight, especially here in the feature of the 2026 Little 250.
Oh yeah, a lot of stuff happening in a very short amount of time. We could barely keep track of it all with the 42 getting turned, then the 28 hitting the wall. That's just Anderson Speedway for you. Things change so quickly here. And we are closing in on the last 20% of this race as Max Davis trying to dispatch of Leonard Koshmer here to have another shot at Mateus Bento in the 3, who goes a little bit wide there. And there you go. The lap car is now out of the way, so the 28 going to try and run down the 3 here as, again, the 3 goes wide. We've been seeing that with the leaders all day. It looked like Bruno Giacomo might have had the best car to deal with that, but even he started to fade here towards the end of this thing. It just seems like nobody can hold on to the lead here in this last segment, as the 81 of Bruno Giacomo will also get past Leonard Koshmer. And here comes the 3 up to the back of the 77. Rogel Dorn trying to close in on this battle as well. And the 3 is going to try and pull a slide job in front of the 77, and it's going to work out for him. Max Davis going to try and get past the 77, but he's getting blocked into turn 1.
He has to be aggressive. These guys are playing aggressive.
Close.
Oh my goodness, Giacomo almost into Marcus Glitch. These guys know that 55, 56 laps will not take long at all. 12 seconds a lap. Basically 5 or 6 laps per minute. So we are running out of time. And just like last year, Caleb and Bryn, we got a 3, maybe 4 car battle if local Dorn can catch up. What a race this has been. Anderson Speedway is amazing. I hope you guys have enjoyed this because this has been chaotic stuff here. Bento, Davis, Giacomo, the top 3 under the blanket. Davis gonna have a 1 on the inside. And 3 and 4 is gonna send it. Go for the race lead, Davis. Do it. And he does.
to the inside. Here comes Max Davis for the lead side by side off of turn number 2. Like you said, the time's starting to run thin, closing in here on 50 laps to go. The heat races were just 25 laps each, and you know how fastly those went by, so these last 50 laps are going to go by in a flash. But now Max Davis back up to the front. Here comes the 81, Bruno Diacomo, looking to try and make his way back up into second. Probably the most dominant car here tonight. Maybe behind the 31, but still probably. That 81 has been up at the front for a majority of this race, and now taking second away. Davis up the racetrack through 1 and 2, and here comes Bruno Diacomo to the inside.
What a charge by the 81. He's going to get to the inside of the 28 to try and retake the lead, and Bruno Diacomo will take the lead back, but this battle is still going to be going on for a while as Davis goes up the track. Bento tries to close in, and not too far behind them is the 33 of Rogel Dorn, but he's got 2 cars to get by that are a lap down. Benny Watson also in the top 5. So these two are hoping that they can maybe make a charge, but it's going to be a bit tough now with those lap cars in the way. And they're going to fight each other for 4th as Dorn's going to get the wall a little bit there. And Watson's going to take over that position. But up at the front, things are getting heated once again. Here comes Max Davis back to the inside of the 81. They're swapping it back and forth. And now Max Davis will retake the lead in the 28.
And this is all natural. We don't even have a lap car. Will Parrish, we do have him, but he's not really affecting these guys. These top 3 are just swapping back and forth. The tires, there's not a ton of tire, but there is a little. And these tires are swapping. These guys are swapping. These tires are killed. And Max Davis back up to the point. But Bento back to the inside. Diacomo up to 3rd. And this is crazy. This is maybe better than last year's feature. Last year was kind of dragged on a little bit, and this one has had a lot of cautions. But the racing between the top 3 has been insane. Davis, Bento, and Diacomo.
Bento's trying to rattle another cage.
Imagine if that was the finish there at the line, 0-0. That was close. We could still get that as a finish. We'll see with how these guys are battling. But man, what a lead battle this has been. There's still pretty much nose to tail up here at the front of this field, although Davis goes a little bit wide. But then Bento goes wide through 3 and 4. So bang, it's just reset like it just was. All 3 guys nose to tail. Davis trying to go high here through 1 and 2. Not quite going to work out for him. Have to see what happens here through 3 and 4. There goes Bento up the racetrack. And now here comes Davis looking to try and take advantage. Bento wide again here through 1 and 2. Here comes Davis to the inside.
Absolutely outstanding racing here at Anderson. None of these guys can seem to stick to the inside. Davis is going to take the lead back. Bento drops to second.
Look who's on his way.
Bruno Diacomo to the inside for second, and here comes Benny Watson. He's gotten past 1 of the lap cars. He's still got 1 more to get past, Marcus Glitch, but he could insert himself into this battle if he continues to pick them off like he's been doing. Diacomo going to try and charge it. Davis here slides up the track, almost gets into his quarter panel. An aggressive move by the 81. They're going to be getting more and more aggressive as the laps wind down. We have 35 laps to go. Top 3 still under a blanket. Davis, Diacomo, and the 3 of Bento. And Benny Watson is lurking back there to possibly insert himself into this battle as well. If he gets the opportunity to get past that 77 car. How about the 72?
Where does Bowen come from?
He's inside the top 5. Benny Watson!
Oh.
Benny's been aggressive. He don't care. This is the only race he's in on this channel all year long. He's been aggressive side by side, again for the race lead. These guys keep on battling, and that allows Benny Watson to close back in. That allows Bowen to close back in. And I bet if they just stay single file, they could probably pass the 12. But they can't. They don't want to. They want to battle amongst themselves. They know of what's on the line. And this event is quickly becoming insane. It's been leading up all night long, better and better. And this is what it leads up to. Late in the going, 30 laps to go up this time by. And we have crazy racing between the top 3. They are beaten. They are bad. The 81 and the 28 have damage. The 31 might out some people's cages. Got the 79 closing back in. You got the 72 who was involved in the wreck. Got the 99, the 33, the 70, the 90, and the 17 all inside the top 10. But we can't focus on the top 10 as these guys keep on battling. Here we go again between Davis and Giacomo.
Davis back down to the inside. Giacomo force slamming him down the front straightaway. Oh, the patience is absolutely gone at this point. We're closing in on 25 laps to go. It's just maximum aggression, all take, no give, and these guys are absolutely going at it up here as Davis takes the lead back. Here comes Mateus Bento looking to try and take second away from the 81. You got Marcus Glitch in the 77 up here looking to try and get a lap back, but right behind him is the 79. Benny Watson way up the hill. Through 1 and 2 goes Davis, and here comes Giacomo looking to take it back. This bleed battle is probably going to go down in the history as one of the greatest we've probably seen on the channel because, my goodness, this has just been an
Benny, no!
Because there goes Watson!
He's back up the track!
Leonard Kotzmer, and the caution is out!
Oh no, he was pushing it too hard to try and get past the 77, and that's the result. Oh man.
No.
We can finally take a break.
Ran out.
Watson's aggression ran out, and we are going to have less than 20 laps to go in the 2026 Little 250.
Take a breath, everybody.
Oh my goodness, what a battle! And we can see again he was less than 20 laps to go, and the thing is,
no, this battle's not over.
Ben Watson might be out of it, but Venables could be in it.
Mauricio Venables.
Duncan Wood, Local Dawn. This is insane. Oh my goodness. 17 cars are out. Ben Watson's done. Well, 16 on the lead lap. 13 on the lead lap, 16 on the track. I have lost brothers. Let's go ahead and see what happened for this caution, and then let's get back to a 20-lap sprint at Anderson Speedway. Ben Watson was aggressive all night long here tonight, and he just got a little bit too aggressive too late. And this is what's going to bring out next caution here into the inside wall, and we've seen it. But we don't want to go into the pit bill with the pit wall, and Watson goes back up the track into the Kochman, clips him, and he's going to hit those tires right there at one of the entrance points. And that's going to bring out our 6th caution of the night here. And unfortunate for Ben Watson, he might have had a shot if he didn't do that. And unfortunate break for maybe these 3. But we gotta see what ends up happening. Let's take another replay and then get to the less than 20 lap to go shootout here in the feature.
Well, that run ends up coming to an end here because of Benny Watson getting into the 77. Second time he's gotten into the 77 this race. And he comes up and collects Leonard Kochmer as well, so unfortunate there for Benny Watson. He was being very aggressive all throughout this race, and that move just ended up finally doing him in. But unfortunate that had to end the big battle for the lead that we had going there for a while. But who knows? Maybe it'll resume on this restart. There's still plenty of time for things to change up here at the front.
Absolutely, 19 laps to go, still enough time. And we've seen these restarts over the last 2 years. They can be wild. So who's gonna get the job done? Giacomo, Davis, Bento, or will it be someone else? Let's find out with 19 laps to go in the 2026 Little 250 feature. Are you guys ready? 19 laps to go in the Little 250 presented by Gainbridge here in 2026. And these 3 have been duking out for 100 laps basically. 70 laps up to this point. And now it's going to be 20 laps to go. Giacomo, Davis, Bento, back clean.
Great start from our top 3. Look at Charles Bowen in the 72. To the inside of Mauricio Venables. To the inside of Marcus Glitch. Look at Charles Bowen in the 72. That car was backwards just past the halfway point, and now he could potentially be in a position to fight for the race lead. Mateus Bento going a bit wide there through 3 and 4. Max Davis going a bit wide through 1 and 2. Bruno Diacomo trying everything he can to pull away from the cars behind him, but we know the cars behind him are quick. Oh, Bowen way up the track. He's in the wall. Here comes Duncan Ward. Here comes Mateus Bento looking for second. And meanwhile, Bruno Diacomo trying to pull away from the rest of the field, but it's still far from over. 15 laps to go here in the feature.
Yeah, Diacomo is getting out to a bit of a gap. That's what we've seen the leader be able to do on the initial restarts. But over time, these guys are going to start to reel them in as they continue to fight for fourth behind between Bowen and Ward. As they keep swapping that position back and forth, Rogel Dorn right behind them in P6, trying to get P5 now from the 70 car of Duncan Ward, two of the more aggressive drivers in this race, although I feel like every car in the field has made some sort of aggressive move at some point. Stuart Grattan into the side of the 9. He saves it and is trying to get past the that 9 car. Grattan up into the top 10 after being a lap down, trying to pull off another late race charge here in the little 250. Rogel Dorn is pulling off a late race charge as he's trying to get by Bowen for fourth. But 1.5 seconds for the 81 of Bruno Diacomo. He does not want another one of those battles. He wants to just end this thing with the lead, and with 10 laps to go, there's a good chance he'll be able to.
Oh boy, and shout out to Glenn, he was a lap down. He's not going to be in contention to win, but he's going to do exactly what he did last year. Look, when something happened to him, might have gone and involved in a wreck or something. He's multiple laps down. That could be interesting back here, but we are good. And how about Bruno Diacomo? What a battle we saw there, and he's been one of the best cars here tonight in clean air. I don't think we will catch up to lap traffic in time. But Bruno Diacomo, what a job for him here tonight. He started in 7th here. Bento started 2nd, Max Davis started 4th. And they have battled their way all night long. And what a race this has been. Dorn. And then, like you mentioned it, I'm impressed by Bowens. He's wrecked it once or twice and he's inside the top 5. But 5 laps to go for Bruno Diacomo. He has dominated this race, minus that last one. But Bento, can he close in 4 laps?
It'll be a bit of a tall task for that 3 if he does want to close in, although Diacomo still needs to be careful. I don't know if we're going to close up to the back of the field. We might get pretty close, maybe enough to where the dirty air might take a little bit of effect, but honestly, I don't know. Bruno Diacomo has a really solid gap built up here, about 1.5 seconds, just looking to bring this thing home in what has been a dominating performance by that 81 machine, even with all those lead changes we just had leading up to this. What a night it has been for this 81 of Diacomo, looking to close this one out.
It's not going to be as same finish as last year, but we will end under green. Bruno Diacomo through all the battling of Davis and Bento. You are going to join Travis Crampton and they'll win the 2nd annual Little 250 Presented by Gainbridge feature with a dominant race car. And hey, we completed under green this time. What a race though from these guys here. And Bento gonna do a victory lap, and he is the winner of the feature. Oh!
Oh! A little love tap at the end of the race there, but what a race that was. I think that stretch where the 81, the 3, and the 28 were all swapping the lead is some of the best racing I've ever seen in my years of watching NR. That was very impressive, but Diacomo didn't need to do any fancy tricks like that on that last restart. He just pulled away, and nobody could get him. But what an outstanding little 250 for sure. I mean, the finish definitely maybe not as memorable as last year's finish, but some of the racing was definitely on par, if not better, than last year's race. Lots of drama, lots of chaos all throughout the night. I believe 7 cautions in this race, 6 for cause, so definitely quite a few of those, and you can see all the retirements down there as well. But that was an amazing race from start to finish, and congrats to Bruno Diacomo on the win.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, it might not have been as much of a memorable finish that we saw out of last year, but still, we had some crazy memorable moments in this race. And I do think that battle for the lead, especially, is going to go down to history as one of the best just series of events here on the channel. That was some absolutely spectacular racing from all these guys, and honestly, just all around a spectacular race here at the Anderson Speedway. Like I said, absolutely a lot of action, a lot of great moments, a lot of drama here, and just the whole entire night in general, but especially here in this feature event. Couldn't really ask for nothing more, and what a win there at the 81 of Bruno Giacomo. Definitely probably had one of, if not the best cars here tonight, and just like I said, pulled away there on that final restart en route to join up Travis Crampton and Elite Company as winners of the Little 250. So huge congratulations are in order there for Bruno Giacomo. Would definitely have to give huge props to guys like Mateus Bento and Max Davis, who definitely held the candle there to that 81, especially over the course of that run. They threw everything they had at him, but just with a unfortunately timed caution there for Bruno Giacomo, was able to pull away there late in the race and just did not look back from there. What a race. What an event to add to the history of what I'm sure is going to be a fantastic race as the years end up going along. I think this is, like I said, the start of a fantastic tradition. We've had two great events here in the Little 250, and I cannot wait to see how future installments of this race will go. It's been such a fun ride here, just in this year and last year as well, and cannot wait to see where it ends up going from here. But huge congratulations to Bruno Giacomo, and huge thanks to you, Nathan, for putting this event on. This was a absolute blast here tonight from the Anderson Speedway, and my goodness, I just cannot really put into words just the absolute cinema that I just saw.
That was some of the best short track racing I've ever seen on maybe some of the best racing in general. That was crazy, and that's the uniqueness of this racetrack. Can't really run the high side, but they will try it. They will try different lanes, and that's what we saw here tonight. And if that caution didn't come out, who knows if who was going to win between Giacomo, Bento, Davis, Watson, maybe Dorn. That was going to be insane, but we saw it all night long. Bruno Giacomo, if he had clean track, he could just drive away, just like Kasumi Takashi, and it ended up being a clean track for him, and that was what sealed it for Bruno Giacomo. And I believe for the second year in a row, it will be a Toyota winning this event. This was a very even feature with, I believe, 5 Toyotas, 5 Dodges, 5 Chevrolets, and 6 Fords. But Toyota's gonna win again. And Dorn in 4th, Bowens in 5th, Ward Fabulous, Thompson, he was involved in the wreck earlier and he gets 8th. Stuart Graham was a lap down again and he gets 9th. Nicky Martinez, Ryan Dwani, Caleb Rose to 5 and get 12th. Glitch, Lutz,
Finished on the lead lap this time.
at least you're on the lead lap. A lot more quiet tonight for you. That's for sure. And that's one point. So we didn't have any damage glitch moments where people didn't repair the cars and kept on going back on the racetrack. So that definitely helped. Logan Williams one lap down. He was involved in something late at didn't bring out yellow. And Watson, Will Parrish, Washamendra, Kasumi Takashi, Anna Williams, and Kobe Light all in the garage. Don't know why we don't have caution sometimes here, but it doesn't matter, honestly. That was crazy stuff, and honestly, one of the best cars of the other night, Bruno Giacomo, earned that win. He got a point when it mattered on that final restart, and he got it. So, huge congratulations to Bruno Giacomo on the race win. Huge thanks to Pedro Alonso and Stuart Graham. Those two paid a lot of paint schemes over last year and this year for this event. Some people bought back the paint schemes for last year. Huge thanks to everyone that did make their own paint scheme. A lot of them were very, very good. And Ollie did a really good job getting me them in time to get this up in time for you guys. And that's a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Thanks to, of course, Alice and Joe for joining me for the B, C, and D main, and thanks for you two, Caleb and Brent, for joining me for the Heath, and then, of course, wrapping up here in the feature, a feature that won't have as memorable as a finish, but it had maybe one of the best 50, 60 lap point flag ones we've had in this short history of the little 250. And this was probably going to be a 3+ hour video again, and even with a different format. So thank you for everyone that tuned in. Thank you for everyone that pitched in with the paint schemes and all that. Hairdrop for the graphics, and with Alex with the special starting grid intro for the feature, and that one definitely delivered. And you know, I think it was Josh Simpson in the chat last year that asked me, "Hey Nathan, we should make this be a staple for an E250 week." And I said, maybe. Well, with this one again, I think we gotta do this again next year, because that was fantastic. Thanks for everyone that tuned in and joined me in the booth. Congratulations to Bruno Giacomo on the race win. And we're just getting started. We still got the close 600 for the Wawa Cup Series and Indy 250 that this led up to as well. And well, a great Indy 250 week. Great to be part of it with, of course, the little 250, and that one delivered. So, one last time, congratulations to Bruno Giacomo on the race win. And I'm confident to say this, until next year, for the third running of the little 250, we will see you guys next time, next year, at the Anderson Speedway.